A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. The Goldberg car stands in the driveway before Allison's house, and the family is ready to leave. Inside the house, Mr. Allison has finally learned the last and final things that can be known about Sylvia, and he understands why Sammy doesn't want to marry her. And Allison is a little afraid of what Sylvia will do when she has nothing left in the world but her regrets. Molly is determined to take Sammy with her and leave as soon as he returns from his last meeting with the girl he loved, the girl he wanted to marry.
Jake?
Yes. Sammy's not back yet?
Not yet. He called. He said he'll be right back.
Where was he? Where did he call from?
He didn't say.
Then let's get our things and wait in the car.
All right, Jake.
I can't stand this roof over my head another minute.
All right, darling. Rosalie, gather yourself up, darling, and see if we have everything.
Did you see Allison?
Yes.
Well?
Nothing.
Did he have anything further to say?
Not to me. To his son-in-law.
That's none of our concern what he has with his son-in-law.
Son-in-law is nice, Jake. He's very nice, Jake.
He must be very nice. Extremely nice. Married to one woman and in love with another.
Go, Rosalie, darling. Take these things down to the car.
I knew that, Ma.
Here, Rosalie.
I go to movies, Ma. I read books.
Let her know, Molly. Let her know what life is. Would that I didn't live in my little world all my life. I wouldn't have been bamboozled by Sylvia like I was.
Wait, darling, come. I'll open the door for you, Rosalie.
I can manage, Ma.
It's all right. Take this also.
All right.
Wait, take Papa's Panama hat.
All right, Ma.
Put it in the front. So, darling, the front seat that will go. So it shouldn't get pressed up and it shouldn't get smashed up. Be careful. Oh.
If Sammy was coming right back, where is he?
He'll be here.
Don't you feel well, Molly?
Too well, not.
Too well, nobody feels.
I feel like a big period at the end of a sentence.
By a sentence, Molly? A period at the end of a chapter. And if I saw myself away from here, I'd feel like a wonder mark at the end of a long story.
Oh, it should only be the end.
It is the end.
Somebody by the door, ask first who it is, Jake.
Who is it? Allison. It's Allison.
Allison? Why, Jake, what
Come in.
Oh, sorry, Jake.
Did they come back? Sammy and Sylvia?
Not yet.
I'll put these things in the car, Jake, dear. I'll go down.
Can't the three of us sit down and talk this thing out a little?
What is there to talk about, Miss Allison?
I think many things. We don't always know about everything that happens to us. I never even gave my own son-in-law a chance to talk to me until today. All the things I thought he was, he is. But he's many other things, too. That's why I think, Sylvia loves Sammy. There's no doubt about that. Of course, if Sammy is sure that he doesn't love my daughter, well, then there's nothing to talk about. But if he still does, would you still object to Sylvia?
What answer do you expect from me, Mr. Allison? I love my son as you love your child. You want her happiness, I want my son. All the things you're trying to tell me, I can't hear. She isn't all bad, I know, but she isn't good enough. She'll change, I'm not willing to wait. She loves him, but he mustn't love her. That's how I feel. Nothing can change me.
Is that how you feel too, Jake?
There'd be no happiness, Allison. How could there be? I wish it could be different. Believe me, dear friend. I wish it didn't have to end this way. Allison. What are you, a baby?
Help it.
Allison, I wish it could be different.
Please. Please. Oh, it's no use, Sylvia. I can't even think what to say that might make you stop. All I can say is I wish this were the beginning again and nothing had happened between.
What's the use of saying that?
None. Oh, I guess it'd be better if we just turned around and drove back home and I left.
And that's the beginning again for you. You'll go away and think of something else.
No.
You will. But I won't. Do you know why I brought you here? You can see the whole town from up here. Those are the lights. This is the one place from which someone living here can see the whole town at once.
And I suppose this is the one place from which you can see your whole life at once. Is that what you mean?
Yes. You're smart, Sam. You understand everything. Do you believe everything I tell you now?
Yes.
Do you believe I love you more than anything in the world?
I believe you love me.
And that's not enough for you.
That's not enough for anyone.
And I'm the one that was called selfish and mean and miserable.
People can't live with each other day in and day out with love alone.
People can learn.
Please, Sylvia.
All right. I've cried. I've begged you. I've asked to be forgiven.
Sylvia,
it's all right. I can't go back to that town. I can't go back to my father. Everyone hates me or despises me. What would you do if you were me, Sammy?
I can't answer that.
I can.
Sylvia.
I've made up my mind. I once tried to kill myself when I was a little girl. We were up here on a picnic, and I wanted something. I don't remember what. Maybe it was more ice cream. And they wouldn't let me have it. And I ran out here crying, and I stood where this car is now, and I said I'd jump off if they didn't give it to me. I meant it.
Let's go back, Sylvia.
And they promised me that I could have what I wanted. I came back. And they slapped me and sent me to sleep. All my life I knew I made a mistake.
I'll drive back, Sylvia. Let me drive.
Why? I'm not going to live after you go, Sam.
You're crazy, Sylvia.
Maybe I am. People couldn't live the way I live, with these storms going on inside their minds all the time and remain safe. Maybe I am crazy. But you... Well, let's go back, Sammy.
Wait.
What for?
We'll get married.
Sammy?
Yes, I mean it. I mean it. I don't know if you mean what you say. No one could know, not even yourself.
Oh, I don't care why you're marrying me, as long as you are. Oh, I'll show you that. You love me once, you'll love me again. You will, oh, you will.
Let's go back now.
All right, we will. We'll show them, all of them. They want me to be unhappy. Oh, they wanted me to be unhappy, to punish me. But we'll be the happiest people in the world.
I'm marrying you not to be the happiest person in the world. I'm marrying you because I can't have your life, even the threat of your losing it on my conscience. But I'd rather be dead than married to you.
Say that again. You'd rather be dead than be married to me.
What's there to live for, married to you? Sylvia. Sylvia.
You'll have your wish.
Give me that wheel.
Let
Give it
go.
to me. Let go.
The car goes hurtling over the edge, crashing through the shrubbery and small trees, the motor roaring and screaming in the night. And Sammy and Sylvia are in it.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been operating in your city. You know their method of operation. You know what they look like. Your job, get them.
It was Wednesday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:14 a.m. when we got to the corner of Roberta and Mercury, the after-hours cafe.
Yeah, what'll it be?
Like to see Harry Prentice?
Yeah, I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, all right. About last night, huh?
Yeah. Were you here?
Yeah, sure was. I'm the only one's got a key. Place is open. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Now, about the robbery?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Would you tell us what happened?
Should have read the papers this morning. All about it in there. Got a couple of copies if you want to see them.
No, that won't be necessary.
No trouble at all. Happen to have a couple of copies right here. Yeah, here, take a look right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I'll read it to you. Last night at the After Hours Cafe, I wish I'd given the address. At the After Hours Cafe, 2 gunmen held up and beat Jeffrey Hanks. The victim was approached outside the bar, and when asked for his money...
Yes, sir. Now, we saw all that. We'd just like to hear your version if we could.
Oh, okay. What do you want to know?
Did you see the men?
The gunmen?
That's right.
Yeah, sure. I told the other cops I did. Gave me a description and everything.
Uh-huh. Notice anything about their speech, an accent, maybe?
No. I asked them what they wanted. One, a big one, he ordered a scotch and the rocks. The other one asked for plain grapefruit juice, no booze, just the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lucky I had it. Got a couple of cans in for vodka drinks. Don't get a lot of call for it. Guy drank all I had.
Mm-hmm. When did the victim come in?
You mean Hanks?
Yeah.
Oh, must have been about 8:30, someplace in there.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in, sat down.
Had you seen him before?
No, brand new face.
Mm.
Nice-looking guy, though. Kind you like to have for regulars.
That's all?
Yeah, quiet, good drinker. Doesn't bother the singles at the bar. Nice, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had a place full of them. I wouldn't have no worries.
How do you happen to get mixed up with the other two, do you know?
Yeah, you mean Hanks?
That's right.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. Poured him a martini, left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, lady type, was here. Was talking to her. Her and her boyfriend been having trouble. We belted her around a little bit. Not bad. Couple of scratches. You know what I mean.
I think so.
Well, she was asking me what to do. We've been friends for a long time, since I opened the place. Anyway, we was talking, so I didn't see what happened.
Yeah.
All I know is that the 3 of them got up and moved to the booth in the back. Ordered another round.
Uh-huh.
I hardly got the drinks back to the table, and they was ready for another one.
Go ahead.
Kept running from the bar to their table for the next couple of hours.
You hear anything they were saying?
No, not much. The one who was drinking scotch, he got a little plastered and loud. Told him a couple of times to shut up. Said I'd have to 86 him if they didn't.
Yeah.
Kept it up, so I told him to leave. Didn't take it kindly.
How do you mean that?
Well, it started to get rough, telling me that they didn't have to take no guff from a barkeep.
No.
Well, I told him I wasn't drinking the grapefruit juice. I told him to get his friends out. He says, we're not causing any trouble. And I said, that's the way I want to keep it.
Uh-huh.
So he said for me to leave him alone, and I said to the grapefruit, I said for him to leave right then. I don't want you in my place, I said.
Yeah.
Well, and so Scotch on the rocks, he said, tell this cat to go hide his head. Like that, he said. And turned the bear loose. And I grabbed the both of them, threw them out through the door. O-U-T.
Yeah.
And I went back to the other guy, nice-looking one. He was pretty gassed by then. Had about 8 martinis. Asked him to leave. He did.
Yeah. Did you have any trouble with him?
No, sir. Just asked. He walked out.
Were the other two outside when he left?
Yeah, standing on the sidewalk. I told him to shove off. I'd call the cops. Old Scotch on the rocks. He said for me to go soak my head. Well, I was going after him, but I figured it wouldn't do no good, so I came back inside. A couple of minutes later, the nice guy, Hanks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he came in, all beat up, clothes torn, real mess.
Yeah.
Big cut right along here, forehead. Said he'd been robbed, wanted me to call the cops.
Had you ever seen either of the two men before?
You mean Scotch and rocks and Griffin?
That's right.
No, never did.
Why don't you take a look at this description, see if it's right. Here.
Yeah, sure. Glad to help her. Yeah, that looks about right.
Is there anything you can add to it?
No, just a couple of guys. Left the bottom and stand out.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Hard to say, you know what I mean.
Yes.
A couple of guys came in and ordered a drink. Nothing special. Not sure I could point them out for you. Anybody'd forget them.
Not quite.
Huh?
We won't. A.m. We left the bar and went back to the city hall. We checked with the stats office and picked up the results of their latest run. They listed 4 possibles, but when we read the names, we were no closer to the hold-up men than we had been. The names were ones that we checked and cleared before. Frank and I went back to robbery. There was a message for us to see Captain Donahoe. We went into his office.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, as far as I know, there's nothing new on it. That's right. Uh-huh. They just came in. What? All right. I'll let you know right away. Yeah. Bye. Come on in.
Hi, Skipper.
Captain, that was Chief Brown. Been calling all morning.
Yeah.
You know what he wants? What do I tell him?
Well, we talked to the bartender. He can't give us anything.
What about the victim?
Not much there either.
Able to come up with a name?
No, said he didn't hear anything.
That's a big help.
Well,
Sit down.
thank you.
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks, Skipper.
Smith?
Yes, Skipper.
I got it.
Thanks, Joe.
From the beginning, what do you got?
Well, good M.O., good description. We got an idea of the line they're working, and that's about it.
What about stats?
Just picked up the new run, 4 names.
What's on them?
Clean. They all been checked before.
Got to be something around town on them.
Well, there should be, but there just isn't.
How about your informants?
No, they haven't been able to tell us anything.
Straight?
No reason they should lie.
Victims and witnesses seen the mug books?
All we got. They haven't been able to come up with an identification. Burton up at CII sent all the stuff he's got on the method of operation. We've checked it all through.
What about the places they could spend the money?
Well, we've been to Gardena half a dozen times. There's nothing out there.
What about Vegas?
Talked to the department over there. They're giving us all the help they can, but they haven't turned anything yet. We even got the racetracks covered.
Possible you missed something?
Sure, it's possible. I don't know what it could be.
If you knew, you wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
From the beginning, go over.
Okay. First report was made on, wait a minute. Got it here. Here it is. Tuesday, April 26th. Victim came out of the bar. 2 men stopped him, started a conversation, got him into a car, beat him, and robbed him.
6 weeks ago.
That's right.
And the guys are still running.
Next one was on Friday, April 29th. Same M.O., same description.
How often has it been happening since?
A couple of times a week.
You can't find a leak?
No, sir.
No rumbles?
None that we haven't run down.
Anybody in the office got anything?
We talked to Meade and Stromwell. They thought they had it made for us, but their lead didn't go anyplace.
That money they're getting isn't sitting in their pockets, being spent someplace.
We can't find the cash register.
I'll tell you this. The fellow they nailed last night, what's his name?
Jeffrey Hanks.
Yeah. Well, he's got some friends in the city hall. They're pretty upset about what happened. Called the chief this morning. He's been on me. I'm giving it to you. He won't be happy with excuses, and I don't want to give him any, so don't hand me any.
Right.
Boils down simple. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where. Just get it done. I want those 2 men, and I want them fast.
All right.
I know how it is. Now you do, too.
Yes, sir.
I don't like the pressure any more than you do. We're getting it all the way around.
People that are making the noise should follow us around for a couple of days.
That's the difference. They don't have to.
Huh?
You're getting paid.
Frank and I went over every piece of information we had on the case. We reread the reports that had been filed by the officers at the scene. Statements from witnesses and victims were gone over again. The names the stats office had given us were run through R&I again. None of it did any good. We still didn't have a lead to the identity of the thieves. 3 days passed while we talked to informants and questioned other sources of information. On Sunday, June 12th, we got back to the office from talking to a bartender out on Olympic Boulevard.
Oh, that's another one didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the book?
Yeah, I'll take one.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Uh-huh. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, where's the place? Hmm? Wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I guess the word's all over. Yeah. Okay, we'll check it out. Thanks, boy. Right, bye.
There's nothing in the book. They called. Want to know if you could make it for dinner tonight. Got a barbecue plan.
You better call it off.
You got other plans?
That was McCready on the phone. He just got a call from a bartender out in Wilshire.
Yeah?
Woman crying in her beer. Says he figured we want to check it out.
What is it?
She said her boyfriend is one of our suspects. The bar Sergeant Jack McCready had mentioned was on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and Ingram Street. There were 2 people in the place when we arrived. One, an elderly man sitting near the door, and the other, a middle-aged woman at the rear of the bar. We checked with the bartender, and he told us that he'd made the call. He went on to say that the woman had come in about 10 that morning. Since that time, she'd been crying and mumbling something about going to the police. Frank and I went back to talk to her.
Yeah? You're looking for something?
I understand that you want to talk to the police.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, my name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How you do?
You're cops, huh?
What do you want to see us about, lady?
That bum Derwin, that's what it's about, bum.
What's his name, is it? Derwin?
Yeah, real no good. Look what he done to me all the time, hadn't he? I think we was married all the time.
What's his last name, do you know?
Holbrook. Derwin Holbrook. You like to buy me a drink?
I think you had enough of that, lady.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I'm supposed to show you don't know what you're talking about. And then you went to me at all, you haven't caught Derwin, none.
What's he done?
Hold up.
Ma'am?
Hold up. That's what he's done. All over town. Old Derwin's been holding people up.
See your husband?
Me? Derwin's wife?
That's right.
That's real funny. Now, that is. Me and Derwin married. I don't think I wouldn't do it. Not for men don't think it. But it ain't true. Not at all. No, sir. Derwin is just a friend.
Uh-huh.
Been a friend for 12 years. That's a long time.
That's right.
Been holding hands for 12 years. But we ain't married. You don't want to.
Will you tell us about the holdups that he's been pulling?
Been in all the papers. You haven't read it? All the papers. Are you sure you're cops?
Why don't you tell us about Derwin?
Lousy. All the time. Talking about how someday we'd get married. All the time. Talking like that. I got a couple of bucks put away and we'll take the big step. That's what he was all the time saying. It was a big step.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? He has a couple of bucks and he takes off with another girl. Lousy bum there was. He's miserable.
Now, where'd he get the money?
Hold up. Like on the paper. I told you that before. He's the one you're after, beating up all those people in front of bars. He's pretty good at beating people up, you know. He's good at that. Not much else, but he's real good at that.
You ever talked about the holdups to you?
Oh, now, that'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Talking to anybody, let alone me.
Well, how do you know he's involved?
Well, just because I know, that's all.
What's this fellow look like?
The Derwin?
That's right.
I guess the person would say she was a real nice-looking fellow. I guess that's what you'd say. I would.
Mm-hmm.
He's got dark hair. Kind of a little wave right here. You hear? See?
Yeah.
In front. Little wave.
Mm-hmm. How tall is he?
Oh, he's a big one.
Well, how tall?
About 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. I guess a couple of 100 pounds.
Is he fat or thin?
Kind of thin. Thin.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
38. 38 years old. 2 years older than me. 2 years.
What color are his eyes?
Brown.
Has he ever been arrested?
Hmm?
I say, has he ever been arrested?
I don't know. Maybe he has. He's never said nothing to me, not a word.
Want to run it through?
Yeah, I'll check.
You gonna arrest him?
We'll talk to him.
Yeah. You do that. You tell him from me I think he's a bum. For 12 years, you didn't tell me when he gets a couple of bucks, we take a step. And then he runs out with another girl, lousy Derwin.
You know where we can find him?
I don't know. I guess he's home. I don't know the place else he'd be. Home.
Mm-hmm. You have the address?
Sure. It's 1827 half Margot Street.
What's that?
Can't you hear very well? 1827 and a half Margot Street.
Okay, I got it.
Hillside 75321. That's where he lives.
Hillside 75321.
That's what I said. On the second floor, Margot Street.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any close friends that you know of?
Sure, a girl he walked out with. She's a close friend.
Any men?
Nope. Stern don't like nobody on his back. He likes to be alone. No fellas he's close to. None.
John.
Yeah. Excuse me a minute, lady.
Oh, yeah, sure. You go to ahead. Tell the bartender to tell me another drink now.
What do you got?
Oh, I checked R&I on Holbrook.
How's he stand?
Found a couple that fit the description. One of them might be good.
Oh.
No time for robbery.
Do you owe anything?
No, got out clean.
Wonder if he stayed that way. Frank and I left the bar and drove over to the Margot Street address. We checked with the landlady. She told us that Holbrook had moved in approximately 6 weeks before. She went on to say that he'd been behind in his rent, but that he'd paid what he owed and had given her the money for an additional 2 months. She said that she didn't know what he did for a living. He had few visitors, and the landlady couldn't tell us if he owned a car. According to her, he was in his room. Frank and I went up to see him.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You said?
No.
Derwin Holbrook?
Just a minute.
What do you want?
Police officer.
Hey! You got no right to bust in here like this. There's nothing wrong.
Then you won't mind if we look around, will you?
Oh, go ahead. You won't find anything.
I'll check it, Joe.
Yeah.
You tell me what you want, maybe I can give you a hand.
You just sit still there.
Sure, I got nothing to worry about. Tear the place apart. Just make sure you put it all back.
Yeah.
Right where you found it.
It's clean, Joe.
I could have told you that.
Sure you could.
Want to let me know why you're rousting me?
You work for a living?
Why?
Do you?
No.
Well, we hear it. You're doing pretty well with the money.
I guess you'd say that.
You mind telling us where you got it?
Wise investment.
That's it, huh?
Sure. I read the financial page all the time. A couple of bucks here, a couple more there. First thing you know, you're on your way to $1 million.
Yeah, well, the way it came to us, you might have made the money the hard way.
Whoever told you that's a liar.
So?
Sure. I got a pretty good idea who's got the big mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make any difference. You can't tag me for anything.
Why don't you tell us?
I will. You're beefing about the money. Well, you can't say I didn't make it from investments. I don't have to prove it. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove I didn't make it from investing.
I think we might be able to.
Go ahead.
I'll give you something else.
What?
I don't think you're going to like the interest. We took Derwin Holbrook back to the city hall and talked to him. For over an hour, he refused to admit any part in the holdups. We made arrangements for the victims to come down and see him. Witnesses were asked to special show-ups, but they failed to give us a positive identification. Holbrook's name came up on the overtime sheet, and he was released from custody. There was nothing we could do. Another week went by. Holbrook was kept under constant surveillance. Monday, June 20th. Frank and I were in the squad room.
Righty, Smith?
Yeah, Skipper, we're here.
Hi, Captain. What do you got?
Your boys did another job last night out in West L.A.
We didn't see the reports.
Just came in. Got a meeting with Orma this afternoon. Be there.
Homicide?
Yeah. Victim died without regaining consciousness.
Any description of the suspect?
Enough to know it's the two fellows you're after. How's your hot suspect? What's his name? Holbrook?
That's right.
Be able to keep him this time?
No, I don't think so.
What's the matter?
Report says the holdup took place at 10:15.
Yeah?
Holbrook was asleep at 9. We rechecked with the team of men who'd been keeping Derwin Holbrook under surveillance. They verified the fact that the suspect had been in his room at the time of the robbery and that there was no way for him to have left the apartment. We went out to the hospital and talked to the officer that had been with the latest victim. He said that the dead man hadn't said anything to help identify his assailant. We talked with a bartender at the place where the beating had occurred. He remembered two men in the bar, and he remembered them talking with the victim, but he was unable to tell us anything more. Additional broadcasts were gotten out. At the meeting with Captain Lorman, it was decided that from that point, the investigation would be a joint operation between robbery and homicide. After the meeting, Frank, Captain Donahoe, and I met back in room 27.
Come on in. Sit down.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it.
Yes.
How are you going to work it?
There's only one way, a rolling stakeout.
Thought you tried that route.
This time we use more cars.
Better work. This latest one's really got the corner pocket screaming. How are you going to set it up?
Well, that job out in West L.A. is the first time he's moved out of Central. I think we can figure he'll be back.
That's playing it the long way.
There's nothing left.
I'll buy it. How's it going to work?
Can we take a look at the map over here? He's been hitting in this area along here. Up to now, we've had it covered in through here and here. Now, we can put additional cars on these streets and maybe over here, huh?
How about a check system?
It'll be kind of hard to work out, Skipper. We'll be in a three-way car. McCready and his partner will be in one. And that way, we can keep tabs on what's going on.
When do you start?
Well, if we can swing it tonight.
Talk to McCready?
No, not the whole thing. We went over part of it.
What's he think?
He goes with us. It's the only way.
Then it better come through for you.
Hmm?
You don't get another chance.
At 7:20 that night, the rolling stakeout began. It continued for another week. Several arrests were made, but when the suspects were checked, they were ruled out as the ones that we were looking for. In the meantime, the hold-up men hit twice more in the area under surveillance. Bartenders started closing their places early. Pressure from citizens groups and newspapers got a little worse. Apparently, there was nothing we could do to stop the thieves. Tuesday, June 28th. We stopped for something to eat.
Now it's going to be another long night.
I hope we get something out of it.
Yeah. Howdy, fellas. What'll it be?
Well, a couple of eggs over easy. I get it. A side order of bacon.
Well, thank you. Now, how about you? Yeah, sounds good, Joe. I'll have the same. Only make my eggs straight up, will you? And I'll have a side order of ham.
Righto.
And 2 coffees. Will you bring them right away?
Sure thing. I'll get them for you right now.
Listen, I gotta get home.
I will have a cup of coffee. I'll drop you off.
Wife's gonna be sore if I don't make it pretty quick.
Well, let her be sore. That's the trouble with women today. All the time trying to run our lives. That's right. Have your coffee. We'll meet my friend. You'll like him.
I feel so good. Maybe I ought to leave now.
Look, you'll be all right. Just take it easy.
Joe. Mm-hmm. Tall guy. Fits the description. Yeah. Looks like he might be setting one up.
Let's check it.
Wife gives you any trouble, stay with us. Some you want?
Wonder if you'd let us take a look at your identification.
Why?
Because I asked you.
Who are you?
Police officer.
Watch out.
Come on.
Shoving me around. What's all this about? We didn't do nothing.
Don't worry about it.
You got nothing to hold me on. Nothing.
We'll talk about it downtown. Come on, let's go.
What's your charge? You got to make one.
Come on.
You got to make a charge. You can't take me without it.
All right, try suspicion of robbery.
Not for me.
You keep believing that, fella.
I will. You're out on a limb, cop. You got nothing. I'll be free in a couple hours.
You got it wrong.
Tell me about it.
We won't have to.
Huh?
We'll let the jury do it. We took the suspect back to the city hall. He was identified as Emmett Noonan. He refused to admit any part in the holdups. He wouldn't tell us who the friend was that he'd mentioned to the intended victim. A check of R&I revealed that he'd served sentences at San Quentin and at Folsom for armed robbery. We pulled his mug shot, and a team of detectives went out to check with the victims. It was an hour before they got back to the office. We talked to him, and then we went to see Noonan.
Decide to turn me out now?
No, not quite.
When are you going to give up, cop? You got nothing to make a charge on. You know it. I don't know how long you want to play this game, but I'd like to get home and get some sleep.
We just got word from the officers who checked your picture with the victims.
Yeah? They gave us a positive identification.
Nothing different about me. Lots of guys look the same.
Why don't you come off at noon? We got you made and you know it.
I don't know anything of the kind, cop. You're saying one thing, I say different. It's my word against yours. We'll see who the court believes.
We got a head start.
How do you figure that?
Fits the way you work.
Any record I got, you can't mention in court. As far as they're concerned, I'm clean. You want to call it a day? We can all get some sleep.
What do you do for a living, Noonan?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Different things.
Name them.
Magazines, sometimes hosiery, different things.
Yeah, when's the last time you worked?
6 months ago.
How have you lived since then?
I saved my money.
You know, you're in for more than a robbery charge.
I'm not standing that.
Man out in West L.A. died.
That's too bad. I didn't see anything about it in the papers. Only way I didn't know.
Who was the guy with you on the job?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know we'll get to him. Why not save yourself a lot of time?
I don't know nothing of the kind. You guys are out of your scope.
All right, Newman. Let's go.
Now you can unlock the door?
Yeah, this one.
Where are we going?
Main jail.
For how long?
Until they pass sentence.
You sound pretty sure.
We are. Come on.
It's too bad about you guys.
What's that?
How long you been working on these robberies?
A couple of months.
And I'm your pigeon.
You're the man.
Must make you feel kind of lousy. Be so sure and then find out you're wrong. You know, if I keep my mouth shut, you aren't going to have a case.
You know, fella, I'm going to tell you real simple. We can identify you positively. We got a dozen people who are going to get up on a stand and point you out as the man who knocked them down and walked on them. The time we get through with you, we'll have enough on you for a 5-minute deliberation.
You're ruling out one thing, cop.
Yeah, what's that?
The jury. All I need is one person who won't go with the rest of them. One who doesn't listen.
You got it all figured, haven't you?
Sure. One person doesn't care, I got it made. Just one.
Well, then you're in real trouble.
Huh?
We'll find 12 who do.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California in and for the County of Los Angeles. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of Jerome Nathan Pollock as an accomplice in the robberies. Both he and Emmett David Noonan were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to return a recommendation of leniency, and both men received the maximum sentence. They were put to death in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Did you miss out on that big football game last week? Can't get rid of that head cold? Want to get away from it all?
CBS offers you Escape.
You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, searching intently for something you dread to find, because you know that this ship carries a cargo of death.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a harbor front in Venezuela, and a grim voyage that started there, as told by Martin Storm in his gripping story, A Shipment of Mute Fate. I stopped on the wharf at La Guaira and looked up the gangplank toward the liner Chan K, standing quietly there at her moorings. The day was warm under a bright tropic sun, and the harbor beyond the ship lay drowsy and silent. But all at once, in the midst of these peaceful surroundings, a cold chill gripped me, and I shivered with sudden dread. Dread of the thing I was doing and was about to do. But too much had happened to turn back now. I'd gone too far to stop. So I set the box down on the edge of the wharf, placed it carefully so as to be in plain sight and within gunshot of the captain's bridge. And then I turned and started up the gangplank. I knew what I was going to do, but I couldn't forget that a certain pair of beady eyes were watching every move I made. Eyes that never blinked and never closed, just watched and waited.
Oh, I beg your pardon. What? Mr. Warner.
Hello, Mother Willis. How's the best-looking stewardess on the 7 Seas?
Well, I'm fine, Mr. Warner. I guess you better run along now. Get on with the show.
Now, wait a minute. That's a fine greeting after 2 months.
Well, it's just that I'm so busy.
I don't believe a word of it. Sailing day's tomorrow. You're simply avoiding me, that's all.
Oh, no, really, I'm not.
And on the trip down from New York, you said I was your favorite passenger.
But I'm only...
Here, wait a minute. What's that you're carrying in your apron there?
It's nothing. It's just supplies.
Supplies? Well, let's have a look, huh?
No, please.
What do you know? It's a cat.
It's Clara, Mr. Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bowman said I had to leave her ashore, and I just couldn't.
Well, who's Mr. Bowman?
The new chief steward.
Oh.
Clara's been aboard with me for 2 years, and I just can't leave her here in a foreign country, especially with her condition, so delicate and all.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, I hope you get away with it.
You won't tell anyone?
Not a soul. As a matter of fact, if things don't work out right, we may both end up smuggling.
On board on the trip down 2 months ago, Christopher. I'm very glad you're coming along with us on the run back to New York.
Thanks, Captain Wood. There is one thing, though. I'm having a little trouble with the customs men here, and I wondered if you might...
I can't do it, Christopher. I just cabled your father this morning. Told him I'd done it for you if I possibly could. He sent us a request from New York, you know.
Yeah, I thought he would. I wired him from upriver last week.
I hate to refuse, but it's absolutely out of the question.
Well, Captain Wood, I'm afraid I don't follow you there.
Responsibility to the passenger, son. They have women and children aboard. On a liner, the safety of the passengers comes ahead of anything.
But with proper precautions.
Something might happen. I don't know what, but something might.
You've carried worse things.
There isn't anything worse. And any skipper afloat will bail me out. Now, Christopher, I simply can't take the chance, and that's final.
Final? Well, it wasn't final if I could do anything about it. I hadn't come down here to spend 2 months in that stinking backcountry and then be stopped on the edge of the wharf. 2 months of it. Heat, rain, insects, malaria. I'd gone clear in past the headwaters of the Orinoco, traveled through country where every step along the jungle trail might be the last one. Oh, Sanchez.
Si, Senor Warner.
We better start looking for a place to camp. It'll be dark in a little while.
Si, Senor. Very soon we'll turn to river. Camp on rocks by water. This very bad country.
This very bad country. You've been saying that for 10 days now. Very bad country.
Well, si, Senor Warner. This very bad country.
Yeah, let's skip it. For all the luck we've had so far, it might as well be Central Park.
Central Park? I don't understand.
Oh, never mind. If we don't find something... Hey, what's the matter? Quiet now. Sanchez, what's wrong?
They're in the park. See? Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. The deadliest snake in the world. Bushmaster. Its Latin name was Lachesis muta. Mute fate. It lay there in the center of the path, a 10-foot length of silent death, coiled loosely in an undulant loop, ready to strike violently at the least movement. Here was the one snake that would go after any animal that walked, or any man. It lay there and watched us, not moving, not afraid, ready for anything. The splotch of its colors stood out like some horrible, gaudy floor mat lying there on the brown background of the jungle, waiting for someone to step on it. Here was what I'd come 2,000 miles for, a bushmaster. Sanchez! I didn't want that snake killed.
He no kill, senor. He gone. Bushmaster very smart, very quick. Must always see bullet in time to dodge.
Well, anyway, he's gone, and the only one we've seen in 5 weeks.
Oh, we find other. This very bad country.
Well, lay off that gun the next time. Don't shoot, you understand?
What you say, no shoot? You want Bushmaster?
Sure, but I want it alive.
Hombre Cristo. Senor Warner, you tell me you want Bushmaster, but you no say alive.
You're getting $200 for it.
For dead man, what is $200? Tomorrow we go back to Caracas.
I'll make it 500, Sanchez.
I catch water snake, rattlesnake, any other kind. But I no catch Bushmaster.
Sanchez, I'll give you $1,000.
We go back to Caracas.
Well, it cost me 1,500 American dollars. But 3 days later, Sanchez brought me the snake in a rubber bag. He was shaking so hard, I thought for a moment the thing had struck him.
One thing you make sure, Senor Warner. Not turn him loose in Venezuela. Because he know I the one who catch him. And he know where I live.
All right, Sanchez, I'll keep an eye on him.
Tambien he know you pay me to catch him. All the time he watch and wait. You not forget that, Senor Warner. Because he no forget. Not ever.
Well, after going through all that trouble and danger and laying out $1,500, I wasn't going to let a pig-headed ship captain stop me at the last minute. At least not as long as the cables were still in operation between La Guaira and New York. Morning, Captain Wood. The boy at the hotel said you wanted to see me.
That's right, Christopher. Sit down.
Thank you.
It seems you weren't willing to let matters stand the way we left them yesterday.
I'm sorry to go over your head, Captain Wood, but I had to. The museum sent me all the way down here for it. And I'm not going to be stopped by red tape. This will be the only live Bushmaster ever brought to the United States.
Yes, and if I had my way, well, orders are orders. I got a cable from the head office this morning. All right. I suppose we talk about precautions.
I'll handle it any way you say.
Got to have a stronger box. That crate's too flimsy.
Well, it's stronger than it looks. And that wire screen on top would hold a wildcat. But anyway, I bought a heavy sea chest this morning. We'll put the crate inside of it.
Sounds all right. You got a lock on it?
Heavy padlock. It's fixed so that the lid can be propped open a crack without unlocking it. The snake's got to have air.
But in dirty weather, that lid stays shut. I'll take no chances.
Fair enough.
I will keep the thing in my inside cabin where I sleep. I can't have it in the baggage room. And nobody on board's to know about it.
Whatever you say, Captain. But we won't have any trouble. After all, it's only an animal. It doesn't have any magical powers.
I saw a bushmaster in the zoo at Caracas once. Had it in a glass cage with double walls. It'd never move. Just lay there. Look at you as long as you were in sight. Gave a man the creeps.
I didn't know they had a bushmaster at the Caracas Zoo.
They don't. Now. Found the glass broken one morning and the snake gone. Night watchman was dead. They never found out what happened.
Well, the watchman must have broken the glass by accident some way.
The way they figured it, the glass was broken from the inside. Well, we sail in 4 hours.
We steamed north into the Caribbean with perfect weather and a sea as smooth as an inland lake. The barometer dropped a little on the 3rd day, but cleared up overnight and left nothing worse than a heavy swell. But in spite of the calm seas and the pleasant weather, I found myself feeling more and more often an ominous foreboding. I was developing an almost unnatural fear of that snake. Well, I stayed clear of the passengers pretty much. Got the habit of dropping into Captain Wood's quarters several times a day. He kept the heavy box underneath his berth. I'd approach it quietly and shine my flashlight through the open crack. Never once could I catch that 12-foot devil asleep, or even excited. He'd be lying there, half coiled, his head raised a little, staring out of those beady black eyes, waiting. He'd still be like that when I'd turn away to leave. Maybe that's what bothered me, that horrible and constant watchful waiting. What in the name of heaven was he waiting for?
Well, hello there, Mr. Warner.
Oh, how are you, Mother Willis?
Why, but you and the captain spend an awful lot of time around this cabin. I'm beginning to think the two of you must have some guilty secret.
Oh, no, nothing like that, Mother Willis. I don't know about Captain Wood, but I certainly don't have any guilty secrets. Well, she's running quite a swell out there, Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, it's a little heavy, all right, Mr. Warner. Just a storm passed through to the west of us yesterday when the glass dropped.
Think it missed us then, huh?
Yeah, that's what the mate figures. Sure stirred up some water, though.
This will put half the passengers in their bunks.
Makes it great for my department. 2/3 of them will want a steward to hold their head.
They'll keep Mother Willis so busy she'll have... Wait, look at the size of that wave.
Huh? But break the hop. We're going to take it on the port bow. Hang on!
That was a freak if there ever was one. Not another wave in sight.
You see them like that sometimes, even in a calm sea. Well, I got to get below, Mr. Warner. That water probably did some damage on the officer's deck.
Yeah, I suppose it... What did you say?
The wheel companionway was open on the port side. Bridge cabins must have taken a pretty bad smashing up. They're right below the, Here, is something wrong, Mr. Warner?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Bowman. At least I hope not. I looked first for Captain Wood and couldn't find him. Of course, I knew it was only one chance in 1,000, but the chances against that freak wave were 1 in 1,000, too. Well, I couldn't waste any more time, so I stumbled down the companionway and along the passage to the captain's cabin.
Oh, come on in, Mr. Warner.
Mother Willis.
Why, isn't this cabin a mess? Trying to get some of these things out to dry.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to check. Where's that box that was under the captain's bunk?
Threw it out on that.
But where? We didn't know. It was nearly dark when we met together again in the chart room.
I don't get the thing at
No
all.
other way around it. We've risked all the time we can. We've got to warn the passengers.
Well, how'll we do it, Captain? Call them all together in the lounge?
No, if we did anything like that, we'd be asking for a panic.
We'll get one, whether we ask for it or not.
Pick a few men and go through the cabin decks. Tell them individually, inside their cabins. Watch for any act that looks as though it might cause trouble. And we'll keep an eye on them. Handle the crew the same way.
All right, Captain. Okay.
Now, as soon as you've finished, arm all the deck officers and start searching again. Our only chance of preventing a riot is to find that damnable snake.
The slow nightmare that followed grew worse by the hour. None of us slept. All the ship's officers not on duty kept on with that endless search. Passengers locked themselves in their cabins or huddled together in the lounges, knowing all the time that no spot on board could be called safe. Fear was a heavy fog in the lungs of all of us, and every light on the vessel burned throughout the night. Morning came and brought no relief. Terror and tension mounted by the hour.
There
Now, Mrs. Crane, stop getting yourself all worked up and go back to your cabin. The horrid thing's probably crawled overboard anyway.
You're just saying that. You're paid to say it. You don't know. Nobody does.
Now, everything's going to be all right.
Oh, if we could only do something. If all of us could only get off the ship. They could fumigate it. Yes, that's what we've got to do. We've got to get off the ship.
Now, wait.
Mr. Bowman. Mr. Bowman is going to jump us.
No, you don't, lady.
Let me go. Let me go.
Nice work.
Let me go.
Nice work, Mr. Bowman. Get her down to her cabin. Whatever you do, don't turn her loose.
Well, you never know when it might strike you. You can't put on a coat or move a chair without risking your life. Now, something's got to be done. It might be right here in this crowd.
All right, mister. You better quiet down. Take it easy.
Take it easy, huh? Well, you're a great officer. Why don't you do something about it? That thing might be crawling around here right under our feet somewhere.
Shut up. Are you trying to start a panic?
I got a right to talk. I don't want to die. Nobody's going to tell me.
The second night passed, and morning came around again. A gray and rainy day, just as grim and tense, dragged past, and the night came down again. Third night of the terror. Again, every light burned, and the whole ship seethed in the throes of incipient panic. Faced by a horror they'd never met on the sea before, crew and officers alike were on the verge of revolt. Passengers sat huddled in a trance-like stupor, ready to scream at the slightest unknown sound. At 7 bells, I made my way forward to the chart room and found Captain Wood bent over a desk.
Hello, Christopher. Come on in. Sit down.
It's got to be somewhere, Captain Wood. It's got to be.
I don't know. You could search this ship for 6 months and never touch all the places aboard. We can only hold out for 2 more days. We'll be in.
Well, what's the Home Office say?
Oh, here's the latest wireless from them. Keep quiet and keep coming. What else can we do? How is it on the deck?
Pretty bad. Anything could happen.
Yeah. That's why I took the guns away from the men. One pistol shot and we'd have a riot on our hands.
Well, the whole thing's my fault, Captain Wood. That's what I can't forget.
Oh, take it easy, man.
There was only some way I could pay for it myself, alone.
No, I know how you feel, but it's no more your fault than mine. The man who asked you to bring the snake back alive. Nobody planned this. You'd better try and get a little sleep.
Sleep?
Mr. Bowman made some coffee down the steerage galley a while ago. Better go down and get yourself a cup. And then rest up for a couple of hours.
Rest? I can't rest.
Christopher, it's no good going. What are you going to do? You can't help anything if you tumble through a hatch half asleep and break your neck. Go on and get some coffee. One way or another, we've got to hold out for 2 more days.
The light was on in the steward's galley, and the coffee pot was standing on the stove. It was still warm, so I didn't bother to heat it. I poured out a cup, carried it over, and set it on the porcelain tabletop in the center of the room. I started to light a cigarette. The door of the pan cupboard beneath the sink was standing slightly ajar, and I happened to glance down toward it. Out from the dark interior of the cupboard shone 2 glittering points of light 2 inches apart. I dropped the cigarette and moved slowly backward. I'd found the Bushmaster. As I moved, the snake slid out of the cupboard in a single sinuous glide, drew back into a loose coil on the galley floor, never taking his eyes off me. I moved slowly back, waiting any moment for that deadly slithering strike. How had he known it was me? He'd stayed quiet when Bowman was here. How did he know to pick the first time in 3 days when I didn't have a gun? Well, my hand touched the wall behind me and I stopped. Only then I realized in terror what I'd done. The call button and the door were on the far side of the room. I'd backed into a dead end. I stared at the snake in fascination, expecting any moment the ripping slash of those poison fangs. The horrid coils tightened a little, and then were still again. 10 million years of evolution to produce this moment. Homo sapiens versus Lachesis muta. man against mute fate, and all the odds were on fate. I knew then that I was going to die. I could feel the sweat run down between the painted wall and the palms of my hands pressed against it. My skin crawled and twitched, and the pit of my stomach was as cold as ice. There was no sound but the rush of blood in my ears. The snake shifted again, drawing into a tighter coil, always tighter. Why the devil didn't he get it over with? And then, for just an instant, his head veered away. Something moved over by the stove. I didn't dare turn to look at it. Slowly, it moved out into my line of vision. There was a cat, that scrawny cat Clara that Mother Willis had sneaked aboard in La Guaira. Its back was arched, and every hair stood on end. It moved stiff-legged now, walking in a half circle around the snake. The bushmaster shifted slowly and kept watching the cat. He tightened. He was going to strike at any second. He struck and missed. The cat was barely out of reach. Now she was walking back and forth again. She was asking to die. Missed again by a fraction of an inch. He was striking now without even going to a full coil. Missed. Again and again. Always missing to the barest margin. Each time the cat danced barely out of reach, and each time she countered with one precise spat of a dainty paw, bracing her skinny frame on three stiff legs. And then suddenly I realized what she was doing. The bushmaster was tiring, and one strike was just an instant slow. But in that split second, sharp claws raked across the evil head and ripped out both of the lidless eyes. That cat had deliberately blinded the snake. Well, he didn't bother to coil now, but slid after her in a fury, striking wildly and rapidly, always missing, and every strike was a little slower than the last one. Until finally, as the snake's neck stretched out at the end of a strike, the cat made one leap and sank her razor-sharp teeth just back of the ugly head, sank them in until they crunched bones. With tooth and claw she clung as the monster snake flailed and lashed on the floor, striving to get those hideous coils around her, trying to break her holds, to shake off the slow and certain paralyzing death that gradually crept over him and at last stilled his struggle forever. I took a deep breath. And first in minutes. The cat lay on her side on the floor, panting, resting from the fight just over. And she had a right to rest. That mangy, brave, beautiful alley cat had just saved my life. And maybe others as well. But as I turned toward the stove, I suddenly became very humble. And I knew all at once what a small thing a human being really is. I and others aboard were still alive only by the merest accident. There were three reasons why that cat had fought and killed the world's deadliest snake. And those three reasons came tottering out from under the stove on shaky little legs. Three kittens with their eyes bright with wonder and their tails stiff as pokers. Up on the deck, hundreds of passengers were waiting for the news that the days and nights of terror were ended. Well, I could wait a little longer. I pulled open the doors of the cabinet, found a can of milk, and then I dropped down on my knees on the floor of the galley.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you A Shipment of Mute Fate by Martin Storm, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Jack Webb as Chris Warner, Raymond Lawrence as Captain Wood, and D.J. Thompson as Mother Willis. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fure. Next week,
at this same time, when you're tired from a hard day at the office, or leaning over a hot stove all day, when you want to get away from it all, CBS again offers you Escape.
Good night, then, until this same time next week, when CBS again brings you Escape. This CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A watch salesman tells you his sample case has been stolen. He says he knows the men who did it. Your job? Find them.
It was Tuesday, October 4th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when we got to room 27A. Robbery.
I'll check the book.
All right. Got anything for us?
No. Say, took Faye to the movies last night.
Well?
Yeah, darn good double bill. Mystery and a comedy. Sure had me fooled.
What?
The mystery had me fooled. I never can figure out who done it.
Yeah.
It was this rich society girl.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in the penthouse, top floor, real modern kind of glass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, they found her lying outside in the roof garden part, and the doors were all locked, and the police had to break them down to get in. As soon as they got in...
Yes, sir.
I'd like to report a robbery. Is this right place?
Yes, sir. You want to sit down?
Oh, thanks. My name's Liggins, Russell Liggins.
Can you spell it, please?
Yeah, it's Liggins. Liggins.
Mm-hmm. This is Frank Smith. My name is Friday.
I'm pleased to meet you.
How you doing? I suppose you tell us what happened, Mr. Liggins.
Be okay to smoke?
Sure, go ahead.
You fellas care for a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you. Here, I have a light. Frank?
Thanks. Thank you. Well, it was my own fault to begin with. It just wasn't using my head.
Uh-huh.
The company ought to fire me. I wouldn't blame them if they did.
What company is that?
Sentinel Watch Company up in Seattle.
I see.
It's a new outfit. They import movements from Japan and put them in cases over here and wholesale them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of their head salesmen. I came down for the Jewelers Convention.
I see.
The convention ended yesterday, and I was supposed to leave for home this morning, 9 o'clock plane. I guess I have to take a later flight now.
Yes.
Oh, of all the dumb stunts, practically handed him my sample case on a silver platter. Over 100 watches. Our best stuff. A lot of them in jeweled cases. Company wanted to make a good impression, you know?
Hmm.
Where'd the robbery take place, Mr. Liggins?
Front of the hotel. For all intents and purposes, that is.
Which hotel is it?
The Greystone. That's where I've been stopped.
I see. Do you have any idea who robbed you?
The best idea in the world.
Yeah.
Spent a couple of hours with him last night.
Yeah?
You see, what happened is this. Like I said, the convention was over yesterday and wound up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, well, I had the whole evening ahead of me, nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I had dinner there at the hotel, a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Stove too early to go to bed, so I thought I'd look the town over, you know?
Mm-hmm. Stopped
by Pershing Square and listened to those characters spouting off, and along about 10 o'clock I headed back toward the Greystone. Passed the bar and decided to go in for a nightcap.
You remember the name of the bar?
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a couple blocks from the hotel, though. Had a nice little combo in there, played pretty good music. So I sat around for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little too much to drink. Oh, I wasn't drunk or anything like that, but had my share.
Hmm.
It must have been a little higher. I wouldn't have got started talking to a couple of strangers the way I did.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me, these two fellows. We got to chatting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was about music at first. They seemed to be enjoying it. One thing led to another, and they bought me a drink, and I had to pay them back, of course.
Yes, sir.
Asked me what line I was in. I told them I sold watches. Said I was in town for the jewelry convention. They took a real big, said that's why they were here, too. Claimed they had a jewelry store in Salt Lake City.
They mentioned their names?
Oh, sure. They introduced themselves, but it didn't sink in. Not their last names, anyhow. George and Paul. Yeah, that's all I can remember.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, they started complaining about the quality of the watches they'd been shown. Said they hadn't seen anything worth buying. Well, so I asked them if they'd looked at my samples, and they said they didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to make an appointment to show them my stuff. Figured I could stay over an extra day on the chance of making a good sale. And they said that wouldn't be necessary for me, you know, to stay over. Said they could meet me this morning before I left for the airport.
And did you set up an appointment?
Yes, sir. I told them I'd have to be early if I was still going to catch my plane, and that was fine with them. The earlier, the better. Agreed to meet me at 7 a.m. They even offered to drive me to the airport. Couldn't ask for anything more than that, could I?
Okay.
Well, anyway, I come downstairs about 7:15 and checked out, and they were supposed to pick me up in front of the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 or 7, they come by. I hopped in the car, and we drove off. We hadn't gone more than a mile or so, and they pulled over and parked. Quiet street, not much traffic.
Hmm.
I asked them why they were stopping there. I figured on showing them my watches out at the airport. They said they wanted to look at them now.
What was that again?
They said that they want to look at them right now, in the car.
The watches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And it struck me as kind of funny. I didn't see where it would make any difference. And I opened up the case, and they just sort of glanced inside. And then one of the fellows, the one named George, he took out a gun, started shoving me through the door. And I tried to argue with him. I wasn't getting anywhere, though.
Pulled a gun, huh?
Yeah. And he, kind of pushed me with it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I asked him to please at least give me my suitcase. I said it wouldn't be worth anything to them, but I needed it. And they tossed it out on the street beside me and drove off.
I see. What about your wallet? Did they take your wallet, too?
Oh, no, just the sample case. I guess they were in a hurry, didn't want to spend a lot of time there in the street in broad daylight or something.
Oh, I see.
As soon as they left, I started looking around for a cab. Had to walk a couple of blocks before I found one. And then I got him to bring me right here.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a car did they drive, do you know?
The fellows that robbed me?
That's right.
Sedan. I think it was black. A Ford.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the license?
No, I didn't even think of trying that until after they were out of sight.
Well, now, can you describe these men for us, please?
Oh, sure. Well, they were about 40, medium-sized. George had black hair. And the other fellow, he had sort of sandy hair.
I see. Any marks or scars?
I don't think so.
How were they dressed?
Suits. Conservative. Blue or kind of gray, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Were they wearing the same clothes this morning?
Well, no, I don't know. They had on top coats today.
I see.
Now, you said their names were George and Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else that might help us identify them?
Gosh, I'm afraid not.
Do you have a list of serial numbers from your watches?
Yes.
May we see it?
Yeah, it's in my wallet. Yeah, just a minute. There you go.
Ah, thanks very much. I'll get out of circular, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want from me?
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you show us the bar where you met these men.
Well, no, sir, I'm not sure I can. A lot of bars in the neighborhood, and I didn't pay too much attention.
You said they had a combo there?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to make it easier.
Well, sure do my best.
Yes, sir.
I have to get my airline ticket changed, too.
We'd appreciate it if you stay over a couple of days.
Oh?
In case we turn them up, we'll need you to identify them.
Well, there isn't much chance of that, is there?
How do you mean?
Well, the descriptions I gave you could be anybody.
Yeah.
Besides, the company will want me back on the job. That is, if they don't fire me for this.
Well, you aren't the only thing I want back.
Huh?
I want those watches, too. Frank and I checked the M.O. and the descriptions Russell Liggins had given us with the stats office. They came up with 11 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled the packages. Liggins was unable to identify any of the mug shots. 10:13 a.m., we cruised the vicinity of the Greystone Hotel looking for the bar where Liggins had first met the suspect. He told us the Green Hat Cafe on 6th Street seemed familiar, but he wasn't certain. We left him in the car and we went inside to interview the bartender.
Look, you boys know me. I run a nice, clean place. Don't even cut the liquor.
Yeah.
I ain't caused you no trouble. Why don't you lay off?
Just a couple of questions for you, Sam.
Sure. A couple of questions. Next thing I know, I'm testifying in court.
You got something you ought to testify about?
No, of course not. I'm just talking.
Well, then talk to us, huh?
Okay. What do you want?
You on the job here last night?
Yeah.
All evening.
All evening. I got a little combo working in the joint now. They cost money. There's nothing left over for extra bartenders.
You see that fellow out in the car?
Where?
Right over here, Sam. Lean over. See? Out there.
Yeah, I see.
Take a good look at him.
All right, I look good.
He ever been in your place?
Like when?
Last night.
The bar was real crowded last night. Music helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here.
Well, yes or no, Sam?
Yeah, he was here.
Alone?
Yeah, he came in alone.
Mm-hmm.
He took that stool over there, had a few drinks, and left.
Mm-hmm. You talk to anybody?
He talked to me.
What'd he say?
He liked the music, that's about all.
Who else he talked to?
A girl sitting next to him.
Who was she?
Well, I don't know her name. She comes in once in a while, kind of nice looking.
There were a couple of men in here, too, weren't there, Sam?
Well, there were a lot of guys. Why?
Well-dressed, middle-aged?
Could be.
They talked to him, too, did they?
The fellow in your car?
Same guy, yeah.
Well, if they did, I didn't see him.
Had quite a conversation.
I didn't hear it. Music's pretty loud.
Who were they, Sam?
Look, I don't ask for a driver's license unless the guy looks like he's under...
Come on,
21.
Sam. Who are they?
He's Connie. That friend of yours out there.
Yeah.
End stool, that's where he sat.
Uh-huh.
The girl was next to him the whole evening.
Well?
He couldn't have talked to nobody else.
We took Liggins into the Green Hat Cafe, and he said he was certain that was where he had met the two men known as George and Paul. Sam Huppel, the owner of the bar, was equally certain that Liggins was mistaken. 10:48 a.m. Frank and I drove Liggins over to the Greystone Hotel. While he went inside to re-register, we talked with the cab drivers who were stationed at the stand next to the main hotel entrance. One of them told us he had been parked there from about 6:30 until 7:15 a.m. that morning.
Thought I was never going to give me a fare. When it starts like that, the whole day's shot. Look at me now. Been sitting here for the last 25 minutes.
Did you see a man come out of the hotel about 5 minutes to 7?
I was watching those doors real anxious. If he came out, I saw him.
Same fellow we just let on.
Oh.
You remember him?
Sure.
Did you notice the car he drove off in?
You kidding?
What do you mean?
This hack of mine.
Huh?
He was my first fare this AM.
You picked him up here?
That's right. Wasn't 5 or 7, though. Closer to 7:30.
Where'd you take him?
City Hall.
We went into the hotel and talked to the desk clerk. He told us that Liggins had been assigned the same room he had previously occupied, 417. He also told us that he was almost positive Liggins had not carried a sample case when he checked out that morning. We talked to the bellhop who had brought down Liggins' baggage. He said Liggins had only one suitcase. 11:13 a.m. Frank and I went up to room 417.
Come in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very kind of you. Oh, I'll be with you as soon as I get off the phone.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a day or two, I guess, if that's all right. No, they didn't take my money. Thanks, I can manage. Oh, just one thing. Would you ask one of the girls to call my wife and explain the delay? Oh, thank you very much, sir. Bye. Well, I was just talking to the boss in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's all right for me to stick around a few days.
Good.
Now, you really think you can find those guys that fast, huh?
Well, we may not have to look for them.
What do you mean?
We've been checking your story, Liggins.
Yeah?
Leaks like a sieve.
That lousy bartender, huh? You taking his word against mine?
No, we get more than the bartender.
Oh?
The cab driver says he picked you up here at 7:20 and drove you down to City Hall.
Well, he's crazy.
Didn't have it in person.
He must have picked up somebody who looks like me, that's all.
We talked to the bellhop who brought down your luggage. There wasn't any sample case.
I carried it myself. I wasn't going to let a bellhop handle something as valuable as that.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't notice it, that's all.
The desk clerk didn't notice it either.
Well, I stood in front of his desk when I paid up. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want from me?
Just tell us what happened to the sample case.
I've told you the whole story.
There was one thing you left out.
What's that?
The truth. We continued to question Russell Liggins in his hotel room. He insisted that he'd been telling us the truth. We confronted him with the cab driver, the desk clerk, the bellhop. He refused to change his story. 1:05 p.m., we drove Liggins down to the City Hall for further interrogation.
How much are the watches worth?
The wholesale or retail?
Both ways.
About 4,000 wholesale, maybe 10 retail.
A lot of money.
Well, sure.
The boss upset.
Well, he wasn't very happy about it.
He's insured, isn't he? Well, come on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't you know?
Yeah, he's insured. He said so over the phone. He told me not to worry.
You didn't know about the insurance before.
What if I did?
Maybe we better talk to your boss. What's his number? Come on, fella. What's his number?
Well, what are you going to tell him?
That you've been handing us a line about being robbed?
Well, you think I robbed myself? Is that what you're getting at?
What else can we think?
Oh, you're crazy.
Where are the watches?
Somebody stole them.
Yeah, George and Paul.
Look, okay. It wasn't George and Paul.
Go ahead.
I made it up. The whole thing about them. You know, the fellas. I had to tell you something.
Sure you did.
Well, you want the truth, don't you? Well, you're getting it. Least you can do is try to believe it.
You make it kind of hard to buy.
Look, I went into that bar last night just like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender was right. I didn't talk to anybody except the girl sitting beside me.
Yeah.
Well, she said she came in because she liked the music. And I was feeling kind of lonesome. I don't know anybody in L.A., so we started to talk. Said her name was Barbara. Didn't give me her last name because she was married and she wanted to keep things on a first-name basis. And that was all right with me. I told her to call me Russ.
Yeah.
She said her husband worked nights, one of the aircraft plants. And I told her about my job, that I sold watches. She kind of laughed when I told her.
What about?
Well, it was a big coincidence. Me being a watch salesman, she was planning to buy a watch. Told me the one she had was ready to give up the ghost.
I see.
Then she showed it to me on her wrist. Real cheap kind, just a piece of junk.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me if maybe I could get her a new one wholesale. And I said I might be able to arrange it. Then I suggested she come up to my room and look at the samples I had there.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't up to anything. I figured we'd have a couple of drinks, but that was all.
Sure.
And then she kind of hesitated, said it wouldn't look very good. And finally she agreed. We went over to the hotel, and I had a bottle in my room, and I fixed us a drink. And then I showed her the watches. She picked out the one she liked, but she didn't have any money with her, not enough to pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
And I told her she could have it for free. You know, as a present.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an expensive model, and I was going to pay the company back out of my own pocket. So she took off her old watch, and she put it in her purse. And she put the new one on.
All right, go ahead.
And then she said we ought to have a couple more drinks, you know, to kind of celebrate the present. But she offered to fix it. Well, maybe she put something in mine, or maybe they were just strong. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember much after that.
What'd you do, pass out?
Yeah, I guess so. Next thing I knew, it was morning, about 6:30, and I'd fallen asleep on the bed with all my clothes on.
Yeah.
That must be why she didn't take my wallet.
All right, what happened then?
Well, I didn't think anything was wrong. I couldn't remember when Barbara left, but I've blacked out before when I've had a little too much.
Yeah.
So I took a shower and I got dressed. And it was while I was dressing I noticed the sample case was gone. I looked everywhere for it.
You figured she took it, huh?
Now, who else could have? Boy, you guys are pretty hard to convince, aren't you?
Well, why didn't you tell us about Barbara when you first came in here?
Well, I was thinking of my job.
Yeah.
Boss just promoted me a couple of months ago. I'm doing pretty good. I'm making fair money.
Is that so?
Yeah, if he ever found out I let some dame roll me in a hotel room, well, I'd be out of my ear.
All right.
And that's not all. I got a wife. Helen, that's her name. You guys married?
He is.
Well, then maybe he'll understand. We've only been married a couple of years, and Helen doesn't like the idea of me being on the road half the time. She's suspicious enough as it is.
Yeah.
So I did some quick thinking, come up with the story I gave you this morning, you know, about George and Paul. Well, it really wasn't my own idea exactly. What I mean is that I was talking to a salesman at the convention the other day, you know, one of the real old-timers. He told me how some guys had robbed him once when he was just starting out, and that's where I got the idea. Sort of switched it around to fit what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see where I was doing any harm. I never thought you'd be able to get the watches back anyhow.
Well, you didn't make it any easier for us.
Well, maybe not. But you don't know Helen. Well, she'd leave me sure as fate if this ever gets out.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cause you any trouble. It seemed to make any difference what I told you as long as the watches were gone.
No, it makes a difference.
Yeah?
If we want to find out who took them. 3:15 p.m. We went back to the Greystone Hotel and talked to the manager. He gave us the home telephone number of the elevator boy who had been on duty the previous night. We called the boy, and he told us he remembered taking a passenger who resembled Russell Liggins up to the third floor sometime after 2 a.m. in the morning. He also remembered that Liggins had been accompanied by a young lady. He did not remember bringing the lady down, but he suggested that she might have used the stairs. We called the crime lab, and they went over Liggins' room. They found no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence. 5:15 p.m., we went back to the office. Liggins gave us a description of the girl known to him as Barbara. We showed him some mug shots, but he was unable to identify any of the women. 7:18 p.m., Frank and I again interviewed the bartender at the Green Hat Cafe.
Well, what did I tell you? Just a couple of questions, that's all. Next thing I know, you guys have moved in for the winter.
All right, Sam, now take it easy.
Have I got any choice?
You remember the girl Liggins was talking to in here last night?
So it's a girl now. I thought it was two guys.
Oh, come on, Sam. You mentioned her yourself.
I never figured you fellows believed anything I told you.
We want to know who she is.
Just a girl, that's all. She comes in once in a while.
She got a name?
Never introduced herself.
She live in the neighborhood?
I don't know.
Well, who does?
Look, this Liggins is a character. He's already taken you for one ride today. Now, why don't you get off?
We'd like to get in touch with you, Sam.
Get in touch?
You gonna help?
Well, how can I help you? I don't know her name. I don't know her address.
Yeah, well, maybe you can find out.
I busted my crystal ball just the other day.
All right. We'll send in a couple of uniforms to watch your joint for a few days.
Hmm?
You got any objections?
Well, sure. Cops make me nervous. Like the customers nervous, too.
Maybe you got the wrong kind of customers.
Well, what are you going to do? All right, talk to Jeanette.
Jeanette?
Yeah, the waitress. She's in the back room eating her chow.
She know the girl we're looking for?
Yeah, they're real buddy-buddy. Spend half their time chinning together. Never get any work out of Jeanette once the other one comes in.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
You know, there's something been worrying me.
What's that?
Whenever you guys show up, I make up my mind you're not going to get any answers from me. I'm not even going to give you the time of day. And then what happens? I end up telling you everything you want to know.
Maybe you just like it, Sam.
Yeah, that's what's been worrying me.
Frank and I walked back into the kitchen of the Green Hat Cafe, and we interviewed the waitress, Jeanette Grover. She told us that her friend's name was Barbara Hooper. She also told us that she had no idea where Barbara lived.
She used to have a room over on Western, but she moved when she got married.
How long ago was that?
3 weeks. Oh, no, let's see. It's longer.
Oh, they went to Vegas on a Sunday. It'd be 4 weeks next Sunday.
You're sure you don't have her address, huh?
No, she gave it to me once, but I didn't take it down. I wouldn't have no use for it.
How's that?
I don't get along with Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, that's Barbara's husband. Tom Kernan. Oh, say, that's right. I guess I made a mistake.
Ma'am?
When you asked me what her last name was, I said it was Hooper. I should have said Kernan now.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why she ever married him, a good-looking girl like Barbara. She sure could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Tramp. That's all he is. Well, I told her what she's letting herself in for.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's got a record as long as my right arm. Now, I've seen him come and go. When you work in a place like this, you can spot a rotten apple a mile off.
Mm-hmm.
I never figured he'd get into trouble this fast, though. What do you want with her?
Just like to get in touch with her, that's all.
Oh, now, I know better than that about cops. They want to get in touch. They mean business. You mind me giving you a piece of advice?
Not at all.
I don't blame her, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's to blame, whatever she's done. You check into it and you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The gal gets married to a wrong guy and lasses up her whole life. Not her fault.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
She married him. We went back to the office and ran the name Thomas Kernan through the record bureau. They came up with a package. Kernan had served time for burglary and was now on active parole. We checked with Fred Galloway at adult parole. He told us that Kernan's last known address was an apartment on Western Avenue. We drove out there. Down here.
Yeah. They knew it. Yeah, all set.
Wait a minute. All right.
Oh, what do you want?
Come on, open up.
Okay, keep your hat on.
Police officer, stand still.
Who's moving?
It's clean, Joe.
Where's your wife? Out. Out where?
I don't know. She wasn't here when I came home.
We'll look around.
Be my guest. Always knew you guys rode as ex-cons. That ain't no surprise, but I didn't know you started picking on her wives, too.
No.
She's a nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
You'd start in on her. You stay on my back. I'm used to it, but let her alone.
Joe?
Yeah.
I found this case in the closet.
The watch is still inside?
Most of them, anyway.
All right.
The heck's that?
You didn't know about this?
Of course not.
Yeah, sure.
I never saw him before.
Your wife did.
Hmm?
How soon will she be back?
I don't know.
We'll wait.
Up to you. Never saw those watches before in my life, I'm telling you the truth.
You bet you are.
Even if Barbara did take them, that don't make me guilty of anything.
No.
Stupid broad. Once you start making with a question, she'll spill the whole deal.
But you didn't know anything about it.
Maybe I knew she was looking for a setup. What does that prove? Some setup. Guy with a suitcase full of watches. Dizzy dame didn't even know they had serial numbers on them. What a brain. First job she ever pulled, she gets picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Time I was her age, I pulled half a dozen. You cops hadn't even tumbled once.
You're real bright.
That's the use. They won't learn. Tried to teach her the ropes. Gets picked up on her first job.
You know, you should have expected that.
Why? What do you mean?
Look who taught her.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 2nd, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Thomas Carew Kernan was returned to the adult authority for violation of parole. Violation of parole is punishable by the term not served. Barbara Jane Kernan was found guilty of grand theft, 1 count. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or in the state prison for not less than 1, nor more than 10 years.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, International Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story of Some Enchanted Carhop. It was just an ordinary drive-in hamburger joint on Vermont off Sunset, but they called it Hamburger Heaven. And just to carry out the idea, they'd hired 6 angels to wait on cars. 3 blondes, a redhead, and 2 brunettes. I was lucky. I drew the redhead. Only she didn't serve up what I ordered. All she brought me was trouble. The whole thing started when there were only 8 more shopping days until Christmas. I fought my way through the necktie and sock set, and by the time I reached the office, I was ready to start celebrating New Year's. But my boss, the Lion, had other ideas. When I walked in, all 280 pounds of him was up on an office stool. He was tacking a dried-up sprig of mistletoe over the door.
Jeffrey, my boy, come in. The festive season is at hand.
How's that again?
I said the festive season is at hand. I'm filled overflowing with the Yuletide spirit.
Yeah? Well, you better take those nails out of your teeth before you spring a leak.
Oh, yes. Yeah, guess you're right, my boy. I got carried away.
Yeah, sure. You and Tiny Tim. We're expecting women clients?
Women clients? Oh, you mean the mistletoe? Well, Jeffrey, you never can tell when a sweet young thing might accidentally happen in.
Stop drooling, Fatso. You dropped out of a mistletoe set 50 pounds ago.
Well, maybe so. But I still believe in Santa Claus. Yeah. Now, where was I?
You were up on the stool with berries in your hair.
No, I mean about the new client. What have I told you so far?
That the festive season is at hand?
Huh? Oh, then I haven't told you about our new client. His name is Ward Hamilton, Jeffrey. He was in just a few minutes ago. Fine figure of a man. Well-dressed, distinguished, prosperous.
That explains the Christmas spirit. How much?
Jeffrey, the Christmas spirit cannot be measured in terms of money. This is the time of goodwill toward men of unselfish devotion.
Sure. How much unselfish devotion did he buy?
$50 worth. It's something about his niece or daughter or some friend or something.
What about them?
Well, it seems this girl's been receiving packages, flowers, candy, that sort of thing.
Well, what's so mysterious about that? Doesn't she know it's Christmas?
Well, for some reason or other, Ward Hamilton says she's worried about them. He'll tell you all about it when you see him. The address is on the desk. It's out on Iredell Road in North Hollywood.
So I find the Santa Claus that's been sending the packages.
Say, that's right. This case does fit right in with the season, doesn't it?
Sure. And Merry Christmas to you, too, Fatso. That started it. I hopped in my sleigh and headed my reindeer out over Cahuenga Pass. Iredell Road was twin rows of California bungalows with Christmas decorations strung out in front. All except one house. It was the address Lion had given me. Redwood front on the usual cream-colored stucco. White ranch-type fence, swimming pool in the backyard. No Christmas anywhere. Behind the fence, a big Dalmatian wagged his tail and grinned at me in a nice, friendly sort of way. Only he was growling when he did it. I circled wide and made the porch, but I didn't get as far as the doorbell.
What do you want?
Mr. Hamilton? I'm Regan, International.
Regan? Oh, yes, the detective. Come in, Mr. Regan, come in.
He was big and gray-haired, the man of distinction. But what he had in his hand wasn't a glass. It was a whip. Black, 10 feet long, with lead weights at the tip.
In here. I appreciate your coming right out, Mr. Regan. I'd like to get prompt action.
Is that what you used that for?
Well, the whip. No, just a hobby of mine. I practice hitting toy ducks floating in the swimming pool.
Oh, nice way to get use out of your pool during the winter season.
Well, yes. Never mind that. Sit down, Mr. Regan. I want to tell you about Mary.
That's the niece.
Niece? No relation. I'm a close friend of her family's. Her parents died several years ago. There was no one else, so I've tried to take over the reins and help the girl along. It hasn't been easy.
She isn't broken to harness.
It's a nice metaphor, but it doesn't fit. Not at all.
Mary Winter is a strange girl. Very strange.
She's the shy, retiring type.
Ah, I see. The detective training. You're thinking ahead, assuming that she's not attractive to men. Nothing could be further from the truth. She's a lovely girl. Very lovely. Auburn hair, green eyes, fine, firm, youthful figure. Desirable is the word, Mr. Regan. Desirable. You understand what I mean?
You make it pretty clear. So, that brings us to the anonymous packages.
For almost 6 weeks, someone has been sending Mary gifts, almost every day. Flowers, candy, novelties, that sort of thing. No name, no indication where they come from.
Mary has no idea either?
No. But she's reacted to them badly. They're making her nervous, upset. There's something I can't afford to have happen.
Come again?
Mr. Regan, I can observe that there's little use in trying to keep anything back from you. My interest in the package matter is because of money.
Now the story begins to make sense.
Mary is strange. Perhaps I should have said peculiar. Her aversion to men is almost, well, I've been sending her to a Mr. Farthing, a human relations counselor.
A psychologist?
Something like that.
And it costs money?
Yes, it costs money. The more delay in cure, the more it costs. Frankly, Mr. Regan, I'm tired of the obligation.
She work?
Yes. She works at one of those drive-in stands, Carhop.
Something wrong with that?
The place is called Hamburger Heaven, Mr. Regan.
And you want me to find the guy who sends the packages so he'll marry her, or so you can get rid of him?
It works the same either way. You'll take the job, Mr. Regan?
Sure. I'll find your guy. Maybe he'll look good under your Christmas tree. Ward Hamilton gave me the girl's address in Hollywood. It was a tired stucco 4-flat just off Kingsley, the home of Mary Winter, the girl who hated men. And then it was too easy. Standing out front near the curb was a little man in a trench coat. He carried an umbrella over his arm, and he paced up and down, watching the apartment. That was too good a bet to pass up. You going somewhere?
I beg your pardon?
Someone you know lives in there?
Why, that's none of your business, sir.
The name of the friend wouldn't be Mary Winter.
Get out of my way.
That's what I thought. Hold it.
Let go of my arm. Let go, I say.
Why are you watching Mary Winter's apartment?
I warned you. Let go. Let
Answer
go.
me.
Very well. I'll answer you.
The umbrella in his hand came down on my wrist, and he broke for the corner. By the time I turned, he was out of sight. On the ground, broken, was the little man's umbrella. I picked it up. Real break. Name engraved on the handle. In nice big gold letters, it said, Smith. I headed for Mary Winter's apartment. I knocked, and nothing happened. Knocked again. The radio in the room told me somebody was in and liked their music loud. I tried the door, and it worked. I stuck my head in to look around. A redhead came in from another room, in slacks and halter. She saw me. She dived for the closet and came out wearing her coat. Then she snapped off the radio.
Get out here!
Look, I tried knocking, but...
Get out before I call the police!
The name's Regan. Ward Hamilton sent me.
You're lying. You're trying to trick me.
Phone him. He'll tell you.
What do you want?
About the presents you've been getting. Tell me.
I'm not sure. I can't trust you.
Well, look, for the last time, I'm supposed to find out who's sending them. Either you help or you don't. Now, take your choice.
All right. I'll listen. But don't you come a step closer.
I sat down. One corner of the room. Redhead, other corner. She was tall, graceful, beautiful. Everything a guy could want. Except for the look in her eyes. Scared, hunted. I waited for her to start it.
They began several weeks ago. The presents. I don't know who is sending them or why, but
Any card? Identification?
No, nothing.
You sure?
You think I'd accept gifts from a stranger?
Take it easy. Nobody said that. What did Farthing tell you?
Farthing?
The human relations counselor you go to.
Oh, you know about that?
Yeah, I know about that. What did he say?
That I shouldn't worry. That I should find out.
That all?
Oh, you don't understand. You're like all of them. Get out of here.
One question.
You know a little guy, about 30, carries an umbrella, wears a trench coat, shy?
No.
Are you sure? Think. A little guy.
No, I don't know him. I've never met him in my life. Get out!
I left the redhead sobbing softly to herself. Maybe a lot of flowers and candy would be kind of nice to a lot of people during Christmas, but not to Mary Winter. She was mixed up, inside and out. I headed back to my car, and then I was mixed up. It had looked easy until I got to my car. That's when I got complications. A big complication. Fat, 40, with a gun.
Get in, Shamus.
Now what?
Your choice, Shamus.
Like what?
The Winter Dame,
Your property?
Not my type.
Belong to the boss?
Question, Shamus,
Beat it, will you?
I'm not through with you.
Okay, get through.
Stay away from Mary Winter or you get trouble. Real bad trouble. Any questions now, Shamus?
Yeah. Who pays you?
You shouldn't have asked that question.
It looked like it was going to be a real holiday season. Brotherly love all over the place. The next stop was a man named Mr. Farthing. Only the sign on the door said John J. Farthing, Human Relations Counselor. It was a plush layout. Waiting room the size of a box top. Rich, solid, lined with deep green leather chairs, brass studs. On the wall, Van Gogh, Gauguin, that kind of stuff. The receptionist was out, and I took a crack at the thick mahogany door.
Yes, come in, please. What may I do for you, sir?
The name's Regan, international detective.
Oh, sit down, Mr. Regan. Now, is something troubling you?
Girl named Winter, Mary Winter.
Go on, Mr. Regan.
She's a patient of yours?
Why do you ask?
A couple of questions about him.
I see.
Since you know her background, I thought you could fill me in on a few things. I
heard you, Mr. Regan.
Well?
Perhaps, sir, you're aware of the nature of my work. Since I assume you're an intelligent man, I don't believe it's necessary to be much more explicit than that.
Try it for size.
Very well. Cigarette, Mr. Regan?
Thanks.
There is in existence a code of ethics. Some practitioners call it the Hippocratic Oath. I'm not a doctor, as you know, yet I, too, Mr. Regan, have a moral code.
I'm listening.
Nothing in my code, either morally, ethically, or in any other way, allows me to discuss the affairs of my patients. Is that clear?
Yeah. That's clear.
I'm sorry I can't assist you in whatever it is you're trying to do, Mr. Regan. I'd like to help, but as you see, my hands are tied.
That makes two of us. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Mr. Farthing, gray suit, ivory cigarette holder, and gold cufflinks, stood up and shook hands solemnly. I left. He'd given me nothing. And there was only one thing wrong with that. Mr. Farthing was right. I decided to check in with my boss, Anthony J. Lyon.
International Detective Agency, Anthony.
Save it for the customers, Fatso.
Jeffrey, where have you been?
Look, I just started this business 2 hours ago. What's eating you?
Just this. I have here in my office with me a young man. He has an interesting story, Jeffrey. It seems he's been sending gifts to one Mary Winter.
What?
That's correct, Regan, the man you're supposed to be looking for. Well, don't just stand there. Get over here at once. This young man can't wait all day for lazy detectives. And besides, he needs help.
He needs help.
And that's right, Jeffrey. The man you were supposed to find. His life's in danger.
This is CBS, and you're listening to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and tonight's adventure, Some Enchanted Carhop.
It started when a guy named Ward Hamilton hired the Lion and me to find out who was sending packages to a Carhop named Mary Winter. I met a little guy with an umbrella and a big guy with a gun, and a human relations counselor who called himself Mr. Farthing. Then I phoned my boss, Anthony J. Lyon, and found the mysterious Santa Claus who'd been sending the girl gifts had walked right into our office. When I got there, I found the Lion sitting with his fingertips touching as he talked to the man across the desk from him. Like I guessed, it was the same guy I'd seen outside Mary Winter's apartment. The little guy, 30, trench coat, and nervous.
Jeffrey, come in. I want you to meet our new client, Mr. Smith. Mr. Ernest Smith. He's in trouble.
Well, if he isn't, he should be.
Jeffrey, what on earth do you mean?
I found your Mr. Smith outside the girl's apartment. He wasn't looking for frost on those windows.
No, Mr. Regan. That's...
What Mr. Smith is trying to say, Jeffrey, is that that's not true. Mr. Smith is in real trouble.
You sell it to him?
Jeffrey, how can you say such a thing? Mr. Smith feels his life is in danger, hence he has retained us to act in his behalf.
That's true, Mr. Regan. I'll admit I sent the gifts to Miss Winter. I didn't realize, I didn't know...
Get to the point.
Now I'm afraid. Since I saw you this afternoon, someone's following me.
Fat guy, big coat.
Yes. I came here for help. Someone doesn't like my sending the gifts.
Well, that's real bright. Well, you can start with Mary Winter.
She doesn't like them, Mr. Regan?
Then there's a guy named Hamilton.
She's married?
We call him a guardian, family friend.
Oh.
Finish your story.
I like Miss Winter. I wanted to do something for her.
So you've been sending her anonymous presents for almost 6 weeks. Isn't that carrying the Christmas spirit too far?
Well, I like her. That's not abnormal, is it, Mr. Regan?
Yeah, of course not, Mr. Smith.
You keep out of this, Fatso.
Yeah, but Jeffrey, our client...
We got another client, named Hamilton, remember? Besides, you haven't met the girl.
Neither have I.
What?
I've never met Mary Winter. Is that abnormal, Mr. Regan? Oh, dear. Dear, perhaps I'm sicker than Mr. Farthing told me.
Say that again?
Mr. Farthing, my human relations counselor, he takes care of me.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is going to add up. You've never met Mary Winter?
No.
No, but you've seen her. You've seen her in the waiting room of Farthing's office.
Why, Mr. Regan, how on earth did you guess? That's exactly it. She was reading a copy of Reader's Digest, and I was reading an old National Geographic. It was a fall
Never
day.
mind. Well, Lion, I think that wraps that up.
Jeffrey, what do you mean?
Mary Winter is afraid of unknown guy sending packages. Unknown guy turns out to be Smith. Take Smith to Mary, show her he's harmless. Collect our fee.
But, Jeffrey, what about Mr. Smith? What about the man who's following him?
Maybe he just imagined it. Come on, Smith. We're going to visit a redhead. The Lion didn't believe Smith imagined it any more than I did. But he only sputtered, and I loaded Smith into the car and headed out to Mary Winter's apartment. It looked simple. Then, like a glass of mild eggnog. What I didn't know was that somebody had slipped me a zombie. It was turning dark when we pulled up in front of the place. Smith stayed at my heels like a sheepdog. I knocked. This time she opened the door.
Oh, Mr. Regan, what are you doing here?
Brought your Christmas present. Only this one's harmless.
Oh, no.
Take it easy, sweetheart. Just a guy named Smith. You might even like him.
No, please go away. Please go away.
Smith and I walked on in, and Mary backed into a chair in the far corner of the room. She and Smith looked at each other and didn't say anything, so I waited for the sparks to die out of her eyes. But they didn't. There was something else on her mind.
This is the man who sent the packages.
You guessed it. Smith, Mary Winter. Mary Winter, Smith.
Get him out of here!
Huh?
I said get him out of here before he kills me.
Oh, no.
Sit down. Now, just a minute, lady. He won't hurt anybody. Just take it easy, will you? Just take quiet.
That's what you're
Oh, no, I
Now,
didn't
listen,
hurt.
sweetheart. Wait a minute. It's Christmas. You've heard of that, I think, haven't you? People send presents to each other because it makes them feel good. Now, Smith sent you presents for the same reason.
He's going to kill me. You're like he is, trying to trap me.
Oh, that does it.
All right. Look at this.
What, a card?
It came in a box of flowers. Was delivered here to my apartment tonight.
Each man kills the thing he loves.
Well, Regan, try and explain that. Try and...
Shut up. Did you send this, Smith?
No, Mr. Regan. I didn't send it. I sent flowers and candy and nice things.
Mr. Regan, at the window!
I left them with their mouths open and ran for the hall, and then outside. The girl may have had an overworked imagination, but her mind didn't knock over that garbage can. It was dark and peaceful and still outside. Me and a half moon and nobody else. And then I saw him, thick-set, crouched, moving away from the window. I dove after him. We went down together as his hand came out of his pocket. The heavy gray .45 got itself in my direction, and I grabbed at the wrist behind him. The gun fell into the rose bush, but he got to his feet.
I warned you once, Shamus. Stay away from that girl.
Who said so?
Never mind that now. Get off the case now, before it's too late. It'll only mean go.
Were you going to say trouble? The big guy was 200 pounds of unconscious as I bent over him. A heavy camel hair coat was wrapped around him. The same guy I'd seen before. I unbuttoned the coat figuring some identification might help, only when it came open, I didn't need any more. He was wearing a tailored starched jacket. It wasn't the kind you see every day. It was white. That gave me the lead I needed, and I headed fast for my car. 10 minutes later, I stopped at a drugstore on my way out to the valley. I phoned the Lion and told him to check on Farthing. Then I headed the car out Cahuenga. The pass was crowded with home-from-work traffic. It took me 25 minutes to make Iredell Road and the home of Ward Hamilton. This time the Dalmatian was out for the night. But Ward Hamilton wasn't. He opened the door.
Well, Mr. Regan, come in. You work late.
Our time clock's out of order.
Oh, perhaps you'd like one for Christmas.
No, thanks. Wouldn't fit in my sock.
Well, Mr. Regan, I take it by this visit that you have good news for me.
You call it that?
You know who's been sending the girl those gifts?
A guy named Smith.
How's that again?
Smith, Ernest Smith. His birth certificate says.
I'm afraid I've never heard of him, Mr. Regan.
He saw Mary in the waiting room of Farthing's office. Never met her. Shy little guy.
Well, now isn't that something? Well, I must say, Mr. Regan, you did a remarkably fast job.
There's something else you ought to know, Hamilton. Chances are Farthing's a phony.
Mr. Farthing?
Looks like.
Why, it seems absurd.
Just thought I'd let you know. Want me to go on with the case?
What do you mean, Mr. Regan?
I found your guy, Smith. That's what you hired me for. And when I get to Farthing, he'll sing like a prima donna.
Sing?
Talk.
Well, then keep going.
Okay, Hamilton. It's your money.
It's your life, Mr. Regan. Be careful.
I made a fast phone call to the Lion on my way back into town, and that tied it up. Farthing was working late when I got there, only when he looked up and saw me, he wasn't happy.
What do you want?
Conversation, a lot of it.
Mr. Regan, I must ask why you've come to my office at this hour.
I told you, for conversation.
Then I may regard this whole thing as a sort of joke?
Maybe. Only the laughs you'll get wouldn't get by even on television.
I demand an explanation of your attitude.
Fair enough. Start with your name. Not Farthing, it's Farnham, Howard Farnham. You want more?
Where did you get that?
I had a phone conversation with my boss. He's got ways of getting things. Like your record. 5 arrest bunco, 1 arrest forgery, 1 arrest fraud.
No conviction.
You were lucky. Maybe you won't be this time.
You haven't got anything on me, Regan?
How about blackmail?
Not a chance.
Maybe not yet. Only you were getting set for a job. I believe the guy's name was Hamilton.
You can't prove it.
Well, it was your mug, the big guy in the white jacket. He meant business. Does he do your legwork?
Listen, Regan, you can't pin blackmail on me. Sure, maybe I had ideas, but I don't claim I'm a doctor. I don't hand out any pills. Just advice, Regan. That's all, just advice.
That's too bad. You know, there are a lot of people that take phonies like you seriously, Farnham. A lot of people that could use advice. Real advice.
Mine's real. They say, should I marry him? And I say yes or no, depending...
On how much there is in it for you.
What do you want from me, Regan?
Who paid you to put the B on Mary Winter?
Never mind, Farthing. You won't have to answer that.
Come on in, Hamilton. I've been waiting for you.
You're bragging, Mr. Regan.
It made sense if I could get you to join Farthing and me. You might have something to say. You're showing up. Check my story.
What story?
Like this. Man named Hamilton's supposed to look out for a young redhead named Mary Winter. Only Hamilton takes one look at this number and suddenly he's not fatherly anymore. He decides to move in for himself.
It's absurd.
Is it? You convinced the girl she couldn't trust any man in the world but you. Should have been the other way around. You're the one she couldn't trust. Isn't that right, Farthing?
Leave me out of this, Regan. I run a legitimate business.
Leave you out? Well, that wouldn't be fair. You were the guy Hamilton came to with money. He paid you to tell Mary Winter who was the man for her. Am I right, Farthing?
You're lying, Regan.
No, I'm not. Everything worked fine until along came a nice, shy little guy with an umbrella, Mr. Smith. Met Mary in Farthing's waiting room, starting sending her presents. You know, that must have really stopped you, Hamilton, trying to figure out who was cutting in on your Romeo act.
Regan, I've had enough out of you. I thought you were getting nosy.
You hired me to find the guy, and I did. End of story. Except if anybody should happen to tell Mary Winter what kind of a guy you really are, Hamilton, you might suddenly find yourself out of a lifetime career.
You'll never tell her, Regan. I'll see to that.
Forget one item. For a last touch, you send Mary a threatening note. Really put the pressure on. You're washed up, Hamilton.
This revolver says I'm not, Mr. Regan. Well, then, come over here out of the way. We're going to take care of Mr. Regan.
Self-defense, not a chance with Farthing's record. Am I right, Farnham?
Do as I say, Farthing.
Go ahead, Farnham, go ahead. Murder will look good on your list.
I won't play ball, Hamilton. I told the girl what you wanted, but I'm not in this. It's your fight.
I can make it yours.
Don't try it.
I am as good with this gun, gentlemen, as I am with a whip. Farnham, watch out.
Farnham ducked as I hit Hamilton's wrist. The bullet buried itself in the desktop, and the gun hit the floor. I got the gun as Hamilton moved in fast. Only what he got for his trouble was the barrel across his head. Farnham crawled up to his chair, sat down, puffing. I let him catch his breath. When I waved the gun in his direction, he didn't mind phoning the police. The heavy guy in the white jacket showed up bright and early for work the next morning, and the cop greeted him with a pair of handcuffs. He got off with assault and battery, and Farnham, alias Farthing, made the blotter for a light charge. Hamilton wasn't that lucky. His read assault with intent to kill. It was noon when I got to the Lion's office. He was admiring the Christmas tree stuck in the corner. And from the sounds that came out of his mouth, it looked like his holiday fever was becoming serious.
Nowhere. Born is the king of... Oh, hello, Jeffrey.
They're looking for a replacement for Vaughn Monroe?
Jeffrey, how unkind. It's the season for songs. Sunday is Christmas, my boy.
And today is payday.
So it is. Well, perhaps I could manage a small token, a sign of my gratitude.
Thanks.
Yeah, by the way, what about Mary Winter, the Carhop? How is the girl, Jeffrey?
Oh, I left her with Smith last night when I went after Farthing's mug.
Jeffrey, you didn't. Alone together? And that girl hating all men, and that boy shy, backwards? Jeffrey, how could you? How cruel.
It's too late now, Lion. Maybe we'll read about it in the afternoon paper.
Double murder.
Double hamburger.
What did you say?
I drove by Mary's drive-in this morning. There was a car parked there.
Jeffrey, you mean...
Little guy behind the wheel. Trench coat, umbrella. He looked an awful lot like our boy Smith.
Then you talked to them?
For a minute.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Tell me, Jeffrey, tell me. What did Mary say?
She said, with or without onions. Merry Christmas, Lion.
Merry Christmas, Jeffrey.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and William Fifield, produced by Sterling Tracy, directed by Gordon T. Hughes, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking and inviting you to be with us again next week at this same time for Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. out in a cheap hotel in the downtown area. There's no apparent motive for the attack. No lead to the identity of the assailant. Your job, find him.
It was Tuesday, January 11th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out a homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 5:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Yeah. We just have to call, Skipper. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's on the way in. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, here he is now. Uh-huh. No, I haven't called him yet. Well, I didn't say anything. Okay, we'll keep in touch with him. Right. Bye.
What do you got, anything?
Yeah, shooting over on 5th. As soon as I check the crime lab, we can roll on.
Who's the victim?
Guy named Arthur McNeil. WMA, 62 years.
Did you say anything?
No, he ran out. Huh? 6 bullets in his head.
The Garnet Hotel was located on 5th Street between Turner and Banning. It was an old, run-down building. A wooden sign over the entrance advertised rooms, 75 cents per night. Weekly rates available. Frank and I climbed one flight of wooden stairs that led to the lobby. By the time we'd gotten there, 2 black and white cars had arrived, and the uniformed officers were attempting to restore some sort of order in the place. We talked with them briefly, and then we met Mr. Ted Brendel, the night clerk who'd placed the original call.
I know what's going on, I tell you. No reason for me to try to hide nothing. I ain't mixed up in it.
We didn't say you were.
What?
I say we didn't say you were involved. We just want to find out what happened here.
Oh, come on into the office. Can't hear a word you're saying. Come on. Come on, talk in the office. Now then. Well, we can hear yourself talk. Sit down.
Thank you.
Just throw the clothes on the floor, toss them down, and take a seat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now about the shooting.
I was just finishing up, and all of a sudden I hear these noises. You know, like pow, pow. Loud, sharp.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what they was at first. A lot of noise around here all the time. People falling out of bed, bottles breaking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was loud enough, though. I figured I ought to take a look, so I went upstairs.
Yeah.
A couple other people were out in the halls trying to find out what the hullabaloo was all about. Wasn't anything to let anybody know.
Yes, sir.
Then I come to Mr. McNeil's room, 319 on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Door was open, wide. I looked in, there he was.
McNeil?
Yes, sir, laying right on the floor. Just kind of sprawled around like it just dropped there.
Yeah.
I called to him. He yelled. The light wasn't on the room, couldn't see too good, didn't know right off, then I went in.
Yes, sir.
Dead. Mm-hmm. Called the cops, told them it was a killing, said for him to come right then.
Did you go in the room at all?
Well, just to look at Mr. McNeil. As soon as I saw what happened, I turned around, run to the phone, called the cops.
What can you tell us about this, McNeil?
Oh, not much to say. Quiet, didn't cause no trouble, didn't drink, paid his rent on time.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any relatives in town that you know of?
Didn't hear him say nothing.
Is there anything else you might tell us about it?
No, nothing right off.
All right, thank you.
You going up to see the room now?
That's right.
Sure don't make much sense.
What's that?
Why anybody do it? Plain little guy. Nothing about him make him stand out, take any notice.
Mm-hmm.
Mind his own business. Got along with all the guests. Wasn't anybody paid any attention to him.
You got it wrong.
What?
Somebody did. 6:12 a.m. The crew from the crime lab arrived and began their investigation of the murder room. The canvass of the area was started in an attempt to find somebody who might have seen the killer. Frank and I went up to room 319. The appearance of the room indicated there'd been a struggle before McNeil was killed. Clothing was scattered around the floor. Tables were overturned. The bedding had been ripped from the bed and then torn apart. Pictures had been removed from the wall. Books were scattered all around the place. The drawers from the small desk and the bureau had been ransacked. Papers had been thrown around. While Lieutenant Lee Jones continued his investigation, Frank and I talked with the night clerk, Ted Brendel.
Do you know if McNeil carried large sums of money?
Huh?
Did McNeil carry much money with him, would you know?
Don't know as I can answer that. He never did flash any of it around. Guess he had enough to live on, though. Told you before, he always paid his rent on time.
Yeah.
Do you have any close friends you know of?
Only met one.
Who was that?
Girl.
You know her name?
Well, ain't exactly a girl either. Guess she's around 50. A couple of times, McNeil took her out to a movie or something. They came in, he went upstairs, changed his clothes, and her and me, we talked.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he saw something kind of interesting in her. Myself, I couldn't, though. Kind of dumpy, you know. Seemed to like her, though. A couple other times he talked about her, said how she was so nice, seemed to understand him.
How about her name?
Let me think for a minute. Clara. Yeah, it seemed like that was it. Clara.
You know where we can get in touch with her?
Well, the way I remember, she lived in a hotel down the street near 6th.
Do you know the name of the place?
Eldridge, I think it was. Not real sure. If you ask down there, they ought to be able to tell you, though. Name's Clara or something.
What if we use your phone?
Sure, in the lobby downstairs.
I'll call.
All right.
Hey, you got to have dime. It's a payphone.
Yes, sir.
Gee, they sure made a mess.
Did McNeil get much mail while he was here?
No, a couple of letters.
You know who they were from?
Some law company here in town. Must have been good. You know how they have the name printed up in the corner of the envelope?
Yeah.
Embossed. Must cost them something.
You remember the name?
No, can't get a picture.
Did McNeil drive a car?
Used to take a streetcar to work. Know that because he used to talk about the people he met. He got real sore when it rained. Told me he couldn't stand the smell of wet wool. Said there ought to be a law that nobody could wear wool clothes when it rained.
Well.
He's a funny little guy. Got real definite ideas about things.
That's so?
Oh, yeah. Made up his mind and stuck to it. Like the envelope.
Well, what's that?
The envelope he had a couple of days ago. Wanted to put it in the hotel safe. Told him he didn't have one, just got the steel boxes. You know, one for each room in case the guests want to check something.
Yeah.
And we got those. And when he found out, he decided to keep the envelope himself.
He tell you what was in it?
No, just acted kind of mysterious, like it had something real valuable inside. When he found out there wasn't safe, he told me he'd keep it with him.
But he didn't give you any idea what was in the envelope?
No, just plain white, little, you know, like you mail a letter in.
Yeah.
How about it? Did you find a woman?
Yes, sir. I'll see you in a minute, Joe.
Yeah. Want to excuse it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to check the hotel. The woman's name is Clara Fabian.
Yeah.
She checked out 30 minutes ago.
See where she's going?
No. Clerk said she was pretty upset.
Yeah.
Said something about a death in the family.
Frank and I went over to the Eldridge Hotel. We talked to the manager, and he told us that the Fabian woman had left hurriedly. We checked her room, but we found nothing to indicate where she might have gone. We called the office and had the name run through R&I. We found she had a record listing several drunk arrests and 2 convictions on bunco charges. Her picture was pulled and shown to Ted Brendel. He identified her as McNeil's friend. From her package, we obtained the name of a sister living in the Los Angeles area. 7:21 a.m., Frank and I drove out to talk to her. At first, she refused to tell us anything, but after questioning, she admitted that she'd heard from Clara Fabian that morning. She'd called to say that she was checking into a hotel on South Spring Street. When we got to the place, the desk clerk told us we'd find her in the coffee shop.
I guess that's her.
Yeah, it matches the description.
Yeah.
Clara Fabian?
Yeah. What do you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Oh, nothing to do with no cops.
It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I told you I don't want to talk to you. Go away.
Afraid we can't do that.
Why? Some kind of law? Don't know what you're after, but I ain't going to help you. My fill of guys like you all the time giving me nothing but trouble. I'm clean. Don't owe nobody nothing. Now leave me alone.
You know a man named Arthur McNeil?
I'm going to get out of here.
All right, Miss Fabian. If you don't want to talk here, we'll go downtown.
What about McNeil?
You know him?
Yeah.
When'd you see him last?
About midnight.
Where?
We had dinner. A couple of drinks. I drove him home.
How well do you know him?
He wants to get married.
Do you know where he worked?
At his own place. Some kind of chemicals.
Can you give us the address?
What are all the questions about? Something wrong?
Police matter.
Why don't you tell me what this is about? Questions you're asking. For all I know, I might be saying the wrong
Well,
thing.
if you tell us the truth, you won't be saying the wrong thing.
Well, I got your word on that. What's the matter? Something happened to Arthur?
Yeah.
What?
He had an accident.
Where? Down at the chemistry place?
No, at his hotel.
What did he do? Fall down the stairs?
No.
Wouldn't be surprised the way he lushed up last night. Boy, I never saw him so loaded.
That's all?
Yeah. A couple of drinks and he's on his way to outer space. Only takes 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
He had more than that when I met him. Some kind of a celebration.
What for?
Hmm?
What was he celebrating?
Some kind of an invention he was working on. Told me it had taken him over 5 years, but he did it. Said we'd be on the easy street. Big pictures about the money pouring in. All we could use.
Yeah.
That's what caused the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You see, all the time we've been going together, he's been giving me that line about lots of money. How he was going to make this invention and be a millionaire all the time, talking like that.
Yeah.
One look at him and you know it was all in his head, nothing to it. I told him to stop it. Told him 100 times. Didn't do any good. Finally blew up. I couldn't take no more.
This was last night, huh?
Yeah. We had dinner and he showed me an envelope. Said it was the invention in it. Big deal. He was going to be rich. Went on and on about it. I tell you, I think he was a little cracked. Wanted to drive to Vegas right then, get married. 10:30, and he wanted to leave then.
Yeah, right.
I told him he was off the beat. I said it right to his face.
Mm-hmm.
Made him mad. Real sore. I think a lot of it was the booze. You know, courage. He can't handle drinking at all.
Yeah.
told me that if I didn't go with him right then, we'd call the whole thing off, stop seeing each other. I told him it was all right with me. Never meant to get married anyway. Just something to do to pass the time. I wouldn't have really got married.
What happened then?
I took him home. Dropped him at the hotel.
Where'd you go then?
Back to my place, got ready for bed. Guess it was about 11 when he called, real mad. Carried on, yelled and screamed and said I'd be sorry. And I couldn't take it anymore and hung up right while he was talking. A couple of minutes later, he called back. I wouldn't answer the phone, and then when it stopped ringing, I told the boy at the desk not to ring my room anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at first, and then I got to thinking about it. A little crackpot. I tried to do something, so I decided to get out.
That's why you left the hotel.
Yeah, the way he was lushed up, things he said, no way of knowing if he was going to cause me trouble. All I knew was that I didn't want no part of it.
Yeah.
This accident. Something serious?
Yeah, that's right.
In the hospital?
No.
How bad's he hurt?
As bad as you can get.
This isn't a joke, is it?
No, it's no joke.
If it is, I don't think it's very funny.
It's no joke, lady.
Is he dead?
That's right.
He do it himself?
Looks like he had some help.
Poor little guy. It's kind of funny to think about it now. I used to figure he was cute the way he was always bringing me presents. Oh, not big, you know, but like a bunch of flowers or a book, little thing. Funny to think about it. I can hardly imagine him being dead, poor little guy. You know who did it?
Not yet, no.
We hope you might be able to help us.
Why me?
Nobody seems to know much about him. Can't find any close friends. Nobody would want to see him dead.
He never talked about anybody to me.
Did he ever mention a lawyer to you?
No.
Can you give us any idea where he worked?
What, you mean the chemistry place?
If that's the place, yeah.
No. Never said exactly. I think it was some kind of store, though, with the windows painted. He talked about the invention, said he had all the stuff to make it with, but he never told me where it was.
All right. Anything else you can tell us about him?
No, nothing.
All right, thanks, Miss Fabian.
For what?
For what you have been able to tell us.
Don't seem like it's going to be any help. Are you sure this ain't some kind of a joke?
No, ma'am.
And he's really dead?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, poor little guy.
Well, if you think of anything, we'd appreciate a call. We'll leave you one of our cards.
Oh, thanks. I remember something, I'll sure let you know.
All right.
Can you tell me how it happened?
He was shot.
Oh, maybe it was an accident, you know. Whoever did it didn't mean to.
No, that's not likely.
Maybe. You've heard where a gun goes off, somebody killed. All the time you read about in the papers. Gun goes off accidentally.
No, not 6 times. Frank and I went back to the office. We called the crime lab and talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones. He told us that they'd been unable to find anything we could use at the scene of the killing. He said that the victim had been shot with a .38 caliber revolver. In going over the room, his crew had found several items of value. In light of this, there was a possibility that the motive for the killing was not robbery, as we'd thought before. Lieutenant Jones said that the coroner had called, and he'd said that he found over $100 in cash on the body of the victim, also a wristwatch and an expensive ring. In one of the pockets of the coat McNeil was wearing, the crew from the crime lab had found an address book. Jones said he was sending it over to us. The canvass of the area had netted us nothing. None of the people in the immediate vicinity had seen anything out of the ordinary at the time of the killing. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the method of operation. Until we could come up with a motive for the slaying, there was little we could do to apprehend the killer. Additional men had been sent out from the office to interrogate the other people in the hotel. They reported that they'd found nothing to aid us. 10:47 a.m.
Well, we're sure building zeros.
We sure are. There's not much to go on.
Nothing.
I got it. Homicide, Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Well, how'd you hear about it? Yeah. Yes, sir, we would. What's that? All right. As soon as we can get there. Yes, sir. Goodbye. Might have a break, maybe. Man says he's McNeil's lawyer.
What's he got?
First step. Huh? The reason McNeil was killed. Frank and I left the city hall and drove over to the address I'd been given on the phone. After a few minutes' wait, we were shown into George Casper's office. We identified ourselves, and he asked us to sit down.
Terrible thing to have happen.
Yes, sir.
I heard about it on the car radio this morning while I was coming to work.
You're Mr. McNeil's attorney, are you?
Yes. Have been for over 10 years.
On the phone, you said that you knew why he was killed.
That's right. I feel a little silly about it now that you're here. It all seems pretty melodramatic.
Like to tell us about it?
It's McNeil's formula.
What, sir?
For the past 8 years, McNeil's been working on a new type of explosive for commercial use.
I see.
It's supposed to have a lot of advantages. Easy to carry, minimizes the danger of accidental firing. The way he painted it, it'd answer a lot of problems in building.
Mm-hmm.
He called me the day before yesterday. He said it was finished. He'd completed the final laboratory experiments.
Yeah.
Went on about how it was going to make a fortune for him.
Mm-hmm. Had he talked to anyone about it?
I'm not sure, but knowing McNeil, I imagine he did.
Why do you say that?
Well, these experiments got to be an obsession with him, about the only thing that mattered. A couple of times when we were out someplace, he'd have a few drinks and start talking about the explosive, loud enough for anyone near him to hear it.
You know where he worked?
Yes, small place out in the valley. I can give you the address if you want it.
Yes, sir, we'd appreciate that.
Have you any idea who might have killed him?
No, sir, we're working on it.
Mm-hmm. Was there anybody he was close to? You mean socially?
That or in business?
No, can't think of anyone. There was a girl. He spoke several times of marrying her. Sorry, but I can't tell you any more than that. I don't know her name.
All right, fine, Mr. Casper.
Does he have any relatives here in town? No. He made a will several months ago. Left everything to one of the industrial schools. Not much. Lab equipment, a few books.
Anything else you can tell us about?
No, I'm afraid not. Most of the time he's pretty quiet. Kept to himself. Once in a while he'd go on a bender. Might last a couple of days. When he was on one of those drinking bouts, he'd get in some kind of trouble. Loud talk, something like that. Nothing serious.
All right, sir. If you'll give us that address, we won't take up any more of your time.
Yes, of course. You can understand why I felt a little silly about calling you.
What's that, sir?
Explosives, spies. Sounds like something in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine there's anything to it, though. As far as I know, McNeil might not even have finished the formula. Might have been just another of his stories.
Yeah, that's right.
He was always telling whoppers. I guess a psychiatrist would say he was trying to find some way of justifying himself.
Is that right?
It seemed to be a big thing with him. To find a way of making himself heard about.
It kind of looks like he found it. Frank and I went back to the office and met with Captain Lorman. We discussed the possibility of McNeil being killed by somebody who wanted the chemical formula. Because of the potential value of the explosive, federal authorities were notified, and they sent a team of men out to aid in the investigation. The next morning, Wednesday, January 12th, we picked up a list of similar crimes from the stats office. In checking out the victims, we got the same description of the thief from each one of them. They all described him as a white male American, 32 years, 165 pounds. In each case, the thief had followed the victims and attacked them as they entered their homes. The last robbery had taken place 3 weeks before on December 23rd. During the commission of the crime, the victim had been wounded. The bullet had been removed and held at the crime lab as evidence. 8:02 a.m. Frank and I put in a call to Lieutenant Jones. 8:26 a.m. Might be late.
Yeah.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Kelly. You check him? How about it? Yeah, sure is. Yeah. Now all we got to do is to make it do some good. Right. Thank you, Lee. Bye.
What's he got?
So he checked the bullet from the last robbery against the ones that killed McNeil.
Yeah.
Same gun. Additional local broadcasts and APBs were gotten out carrying the description of the holdup man. Victims were asked to come to the city hall and recheck the mug books in the hope that they might be able to identify him. A check of McNeil's workshop failed to disclose any evidence that he'd been working on an explosive. A week went by without any new developments. Thursday, January 20th, Frank and I got back to the squad room.
Well, sure looked for a while like it was going to go.
Yeah, Jim. I got it. Homicide Friday. Yeah, Jim. Mm-hmm. When? Might be. Right. Right now. Right. Jim Austin, robbery. We just got back from a call out in Westwood.
Yeah?
Thief fits our description pretty good. Austin thinks it might be the same guy.
They get him?
No, something just as good.
What do you mean?
He dropped the hotel key. Frank and I went over to room 27A and we met with Sergeant Jim Austin. He gave us the details of the robbery. From the way the holdup man operated and the description given by the victim, he was the man we were looking for. In getting away from the scene, he dropped the key to a downtown hotel room. We checked the address in the phone book, and then we left the city hall. It was a small place on South 4th Street. We identified ourselves as the manager and told him why we were there.
Yes, it's one of our keys.
Can you tell us who has the room?
Yes, Ralph Otley. What's this Otley look like?
Well, he's a nice young fella, blonde. Guess he's about 30 years old.
How long's he been here?
You mean regular?
That's right.
About 5 months. A couple of times before that for a couple of months. He came back, though.
Is he in now?
No, I haven't seen him since this morning. Left about 7:30.
Does he have a job?
Well, he never told me nothing about it.
What's he do for a living?
Well, I guess you'd say he was kind of a promoter.
What do you mean?
Well, he goes around trying to line things up, figures some way to make a killing. He hit it pretty good on a deal last year, and he's been living on the money since then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to talk to him about?
Police business.
Not in trouble, is he?
We better talk to him about that.
Well, look, if he's done anything wrong, the hotel didn't know a thing about it. He paid his rent. He didn't cause any trouble here. Now, we didn't have any part in it.
Well, don't worry about it. What if we could see his room?
You mean go through it?
We'd like to take a look at it, yeah.
Well, I guess it's all right. You'll be in cops. Sure, I'll give you the key.
Well, you better come with us.
Well, I ain't going to tell him nothing. He comes in while you're upstairs. I won't tell him anything.
No, sir, that's not the idea. We'd like you to be in the room when we check it.
Oh, well, sure. Okay, let's go. Mm-hmm. You really figure that there's something wrong with this Otley, huh?
Well, we're not sure.
Yeah, come to think about it, there could be.
Why do you say that?
Just because the way he lives, he'd had to make a lot of money to live the way he does. A fellow makes that much. He usually tells everybody how he did it. You know, show how smart he is.
Mm-hmm.
But Otley never says anything, just that he made it, not how. He wouldn't let anybody in on a good thing.
Well, maybe he's got a reason.
Hmm?
It's not such a good thing. In the company of the manager, Frank and I checked the suspect's room. In one of the bureau drawers, we found a box of shells for a .38 pistol. There were also several items that had been listed as stolen in previous robberies. We returned to the lobby of the hotel, and we waited for Otley to come in. 4:30 p.m., 5:30, 5:45.
Joe.
Yeah.
Hi, Sid.
Hello, Mr. Otley.
I lost my key someplace. You got another one?
Yes, sure, I have.
I left it in the room. I'll check, sure.
Now, let's go.
Yeah. Any calls for me today?
No, sir, no calls.
Stand still, Otley. Police officers.
Hey, what are you doing?
Don't turn around.
I'll take it.
Yeah. .38 revolver.
Hey, what's this all about? I haven't done
Get
anything.
your hands back of it.
You know you got the wrong guy.
Keep telling us that.
Taking him for robbery, huh?
That's one of them.
What do you mean?
We're booking you for suspicion of murder.
Robbery, that's all you got me for. I'm not going to stand no killing beef.
You keep believing that.
I will. You're going to tag me with anything more than 211.
Well, let's go.
Grab him, Frank. Wait a minute. Hold it up, Otley, or I'll shoot.
Why did you kill me, cop? Why?
You're lucky.
That's all you know. I'd have been better off, a lot better. You should have killed me.
All right, come on. We'll take you down to George Street Hospital.
I didn't mean to shoot the old man.
That's so.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me the money. He kept saying he didn't have any.
Yeah.
I heard him talking about how he was loaded. He could have just given it to me. No trouble if he'd just give me the money.
All right, settle down. You're not hurt bad.
Well, he started yelling. I had to shoot him. I had to. It wasn't any other way. You should have killed me. That's why he took off, so you'd kill me. I wish you had it.
Well, don't worry about it.
Huh?
Maybe it'll turn out that way.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Ralph Neville Otley was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. The jury returned a recommendation of mercy, and the suspect was sentenced to life imprisonment at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You get a call that a downtown hotel has been held up by a bandit who carries a sawed-off shotgun. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, October 9th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 2:06 a.m. when we got to the corner of Cinnabar Street and Grand Avenue. The Brinton Hotel.
Well, I just done what he told me. I figured there was no point in getting myself all roiled up. Didn't see where that would be helping matters.
Yes, sir.
Whatever he said, I done it. Hey, you fellas looking for a room?
Police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Are you from robbery?
That's right.
Roberts, 1F16.
Mm-hmm. You answered the call?
Yeah. The description's out. Metro's sending a couple of cars to help us look for the suspect.
All right, good.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, not right now.
Okay. I'll take care of the report.
Thank you. We'll check with you.
Right.
You know, I sure would have been wrong about you two.
What's that?
I never would have guessed you was cops.
Oh?
Salesmen. That's what I'd put you boys down for.
I see.
Ladies ready to wear. Guess I would have missed the boat this time.
Yes, sir. Would you tell us about the holdup, please?
How about them other officers already let you in on it?
Well, we'd like to get the details from you if we could.
Oh. Well, I ain't got nothing better to do. Stuck here till 7 a.m. anyhow.
Wonder if we could have your name.
Boxer. Tom Boxer.
That's Boxer?
That's it, just like a dog.
Uh-huh. What time did the robbery take place?
45 minutes ago, along around 1:20, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't 1:30 yet, I'm sure of that.
Oh?
See, I was listening to the radio. Stan Swift.
Who's that?
You know Stan Swift. He's on every night, midnight till 6, 7 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
The nights go swifter with Swift. That's how he puts it.
Uh-huh.
Gives a time signal every hour and every half hour. Remember him giving the 1 a.m. Hadn't given the 1:30 yet, so it must have been around 1:20 when this fella come into the hotel.
What'd he do?
Walked up to the desk.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even know he was there. Well, not at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting down in that chair, kind of had my back away from the door. Didn't hear him neither on account of being plugged in.
What was that?
To my radio.
Oh, I see.
This here gadget, see?
Mm-hmm.
It's into your ear, like so.
Yeah, I understand.
Lets you listen without waking nobody up. Other end attaches to the set, like so.
Mm-hmm.
You mean that's a radio?
Sure is. You ain't never seen this kind before, huh?
No, sir.
Transistor.
Oh.
That's what they call it. Regency transistor. Ain't got no tubes. That's what makes it so small, you see. Carry it around in your pocket if you have a mind to.
I see.
Real good tone, though. Plenty of volume if you want to let it out.
Yes, sir. Now, if you just tell us about the robbery, would you, Mr. Boxer, please?
Well, ain't that what I've been doing?
Yes, sir. You said this man walked up to the desk?
That is right. Maybe stood there a couple of seconds before I sensed him.
Mm-hmm.
Unplugged myself. Got up and asked him if he wanted a room. He said he did. Single.
Yes, sir.
Checked the boxes to see what was vacant. Had my back to him while I was checking. Didn't notice him opening up his satchel.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been carrying the gun there. In the satchel. Anyway, when I turned around to register him, I found myself staring into the barrel. Shotgun it was.
All right, go ahead, please.
This is a stick-up, he said. Do what I tell you, and you won't get hurt. I didn't know whether he meant business or not, and I sure didn't aim to test him to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, I said. You just tell me what you want, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
I ain't no coward, you understand, but I ain't no hero neither, especially when I'm facing up to a shotgun.
Sure.
Like the man says, only real heroes are dead heroes.
Yes, sir.
Me, I'd just as soon go on living. That's why I done exactly what he told me. Give him the money from the cash drawer here. See? Every penny. Hand it all over to him. Didn't try to hold none back.
Yes, sir. How much was there?
$60, somewhere in between there.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, he told me to empty my pockets, lay the stuff on the desk.
You did, huh?
I emptied them. I didn't have more than $3 or $4 in change. He scooped it up with the other money, shoved it into his satchel.
I see.
Then he said for me to come out from behind this desk. Walked me over to the elevator. Told me to get inside and ride up to the top floor. That'd be the third. You see, the hotel's 3 stories high.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I suppose I could have got off on number 2. He would have known the difference. Floor indicator down there don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see where I'd be gaining anything by it, so I done what he told me. I rode up to 3.
How long did you wait there?
Oh, till I seen him leave the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
from the window end of the third-floor hall.
Did he drive away?
No, just rolled off. I don't think he had a car.
I see.
Turned the corner, and that was the last of him.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then?
Took the elevator back down, called the police, listened to the radio while I was waiting.
Yes, sir.
Figured I might as well take it easy till the cops come. Wasn't more than 5 minutes before them officers walked in. A little while later, you fellas walked in. I guess you know when that was.
Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Boxer, could you tell us what he looked like?
Huh?
The man who held you up.
Oh, well, I told them other fellas, the ones wearing uniforms, they said they'd send out his description.
Yes, sir, we understand. We'd like to have it, too.
Okay. Oh, young fella, 25 to 30, I judge.
Yeah.
Big build, a little bigger than you. Not as big as you, though. Somewhere in between.
Yes, sir.
Black hair. Didn't catch the color of his eyes. Well, that's about all.
How was he dressed?
Suit. Stripe in it, I think. Maybe dark blue with a gray stripe. Bow tie. Kind of dapper.
Mm-hmm. Have any scars?
Not where you'd notice them.
He said he carried the gun in a satchel, is that right?
Must have been where he had it. Didn't actually see him take it out, though. Back was to him at the time.
How big was the satchel?
Oh, medium-sized, about so long.
Any initials on it?
No, not so far as I can recall.
What about the gun? How big was it?
This long, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Single barrel, sawed off.
Could you tell the make?
Well, I ain't no expert on shotguns.
No. Would you know this man if you saw him again?
Sure, I'd be a fool not to. Why?
I'd like to have you come down to City Hall in the morning, Mr. Boxer, if you would.
But what for?
I want to show you some photographs, see if you can pick them out.
You mean this morning?
Yes, sir, if you would.
It's Sunday.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You fellas work on Sunday?
Well, we're not the only one.
Well, what do you mean?
He did. Frank and I checked with the patrol officers who had answered Mr. Boxer's call. They told us that a search of the immediate vicinity had failed to turn up anyone who answered the suspect's description. 3:16 a.m., the crew from the crime lab finished up their investigation. There were no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence in the lobby of the hotel. 7:38 a.m., we checked the suspect's M.O. and the description with the stats office. They came up with 18 possibles. We pulled the packages from R&I and took them back to the office.
Well, looks like it might rain.
Pretty early in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, the paper says we're going to have a wet winter.
All right.
Real good for skiing, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Lots of moisture. Heavy snow.
You never go skiing.
No.
Well?
No, I thought about taking it up a couple of years ago. Faye blew her stack, though. Said I'd probably break my neck first time I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think she worries more about me than she does about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, gents.
Oh, hi, sir.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting.
No, sir, not a bit. How are you today, Mr. Boxer?
Sleepy. Usually get a couple of hours cat nap during my shift. Kind of missed out on it last night.
Yes, sir, I'm afraid you did.
Even after all you fellows left, somehow I just couldn't doze off. Listen to Stan Swift till 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you I know more about Egypt than a real live Egyptian. Well, you got them pictures you wanted to show me?
Yes, sir, right over here.
It's all right if I sit down?
Yeah, go right ahead. Here you are.
This the pile?
Yes, sir, take your time. Look at each one as long as you like.
Okay. Pretty tough bunch of boys.
Yeah.
No, it's not him. Mm-hmm. No. Nope. Well, hey, wait a minute. There is a resemblance. He looks something like this one here.
Is it the same man, Mr. Boxer?
Oh, no, not the same.
Yeah.
Similar type, though. Does that help you any?
Might. You want to go through the others?
Sure. Now, you see this fella?
Yes, sir.
He's not the same type at all.
No.
The other one I pointed out was, you can see the difference yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Not him. Not him either. Nope. This is closer to him.
Sir?
Not as close as that one, the other one, but closer.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting further away. No, it's none of these. Is that all you got?
Afraid so.
Well, that's the best I can do for you. Now, this one here, the one I pointed out first.
Yeah, we understand, but it's not the same man, you said.
Well, I never said it was. Just said they were similar.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry we wasted your time.
Oh, it wasn't no waste of time, not as far as I'm concerned.
Huh?
Remember I telling you about how I try to guess what different folks do for a living?
Yeah.
Looking at all these pictures will be a big help from now on.
How's that?
I'll know a crook when I see one.
On the following Sunday, October 16th, 2 more hotels were held up by a shotgun bandit. Both robberies occurred during the early morning hours. Both hotels were small. The description of the suspect and his M.O. indicated that he was the same man who had robbed the Brinton Hotel. Frank and I continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any leads. During the next week, all hotels in the downtown area were alerted. Sunday, October 23rd, the night manager of the Schaefer Arms near the corner of Broadway and Clay reported that he had been robbed at approximately 3:30 a.m. He confirmed the bandit's description and M.O., but was unable to add anything new. The next morning, October 24th, we had a conference with Chief Brown.
Doesn't sound to me like you're any closer to him than we were 2 weeks ago. What do you got?
Well, not much.
Let's have it.
Description?
Pretty general, isn't it?
Afraid so.
What else?
Well, now he's only worked one area.
Yeah?
All the hotels are within a mile of Pershing Square.
Nothing to keep him from spreading out, is there?
So far, he hasn't used a car.
You figure he pulled these jobs on foot?
Looks that way.
Then he must live downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about the hotels that might give us a tip-off on his next move?
Yeah, they're all small, only one person on duty.
Uh-huh.
We've marked all the possibles here on a map. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. These are the ones he's already hit. Here, over here.
Tight little group?
Yeah. These circles indicate all the other hotels of a similar nature in the downtown area.
Uh-huh. Well, he works on Sundays, huh?
That's right.
What do you got planned for this Sunday?
Well, we'll stake out as many as we can. We've asked Metro to give us a hand. We figure we'll have enough men to cover about, 20 likelies, maybe.
We plan to run the stakes from midnight till 6 a.m. When he hits, it's usually between 2 and 4.
How's it sound to you?
About all we can do.
Yeah.
I want you both to stay on this between now and Sunday, see if you can't pick up a lead somewhere.
We will.
Informant's been able to give you anything?
Nope.
They holding out?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think they know who he is.
Yeah, maybe the stakes will work.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. Let me see that map again.
Right here.
Funny. See here?
Yeah.
You said these are the places he's already robbed?
That's right.
All right together. Draw a line from one to the other and you'd have a square.
Yeah.
What's this right in the middle of the square?
It's the Argus Hotel on South Broadway.
That's one he hasn't hit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like your best bet, then.
Yeah, that's the way we figured it.
Who's going to cover it Sunday?
Well, Smith and I thought we'd take it.
That's a coincidence. Just who I was going to suggest.
During the rest of the week, we continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any additional information about the suspect. A few minutes before midnight on Saturday, October 29th, men from Metro and Robbery Division staked out 22 locations in the downtown area. Sunday, October 30th, 12:05 a.m. Frank and I entered the lobby of the Argus Hotel, and we walked up to the desk.
Sorry, we're full up.
Like to talk to the manager if we can.
I said we're full up.
We're police officers.
Huh?
This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh,
Could we see the manager?
I'm the manager.
You own this hotel?
Me and my husband.
Well, maybe we better talk to him.
Go ahead. If you can find him.
Isn't he here?
Nope.
Would you know where he is?
Nope. Not getting drunk, probably.
I see.
I work nights, he works days. He don't tell me where he goes at night. I don't tell him what I do during the day. That's our arrangement. It don't make for a real happy marriage, but it keeps us from killing each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there somebody who could take over for you here tonight?
Nope.
Now, you're sure your husband didn't say where he was going?
We don't talk.
Oh.
He wants me to know something, he writes me a note, leaves it on the desk, and I do the same for him.
I see.
We ain't exchanged no words for the last 2 years. Saves a lot of wear and tear on the nervous system. He never said nothing worth listening to anyway.
I see.
Well, what do you fellas want?
Well, ma'am, several hotels have been held up downtown lately.
Yeah.
You were warned about it, weren't you?
George was warned, left me a note.
I see. Well, there's a chance he might come here tonight.
If he does, I'm ready for him. Got me a gun. Pistol. Keep in the cash drawer, see?
Yes, ma'am.
I know how to use it, too. He shows up, I'm ready for him.
Is there someplace we could wait in case he does?
You don't have to. I don't need no protection. Told you. I've got a gun.
Yes, ma'am. So's he. Mrs. Argus finally agreed to let us stake out the hotel. She showed us into a small room off the lobby. From there, Frank and I could see anybody who entered. During the next 4 hours, only 2 people requested accommodations. They were both middle-aged men, and neither one of them in any way resembled the suspect's description.
What time you got, Joe?
5 after 4.
Huh? Latest they ever pulled a job was 3:30.
Yeah.
Maybe he decided to lay off tonight.
Maybe.
Argus Hotel. Who? Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody wants you on the phone.
Okay, I'll be right over.
In the booth.
Yes, ma'am. Friday. No, wait a minute. Okay. What's that address? Yeah, I got it, thanks. Right. What's up? Looks like we staked out the wrong places.
Yeah?
All-night cafe on South Main. The owner was held up. He's pretty badly wounded.
Huh?
Sawed-off shotgun. Frank and I drove over to the Joplin Grill at the corner of Main and Vincent Place. We talked to the patrol car officers who had discovered Fred Joplin's body. They told us Joplin was unconscious when they found him. They said that they'd called an ambulance and that he'd been taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. We telephoned the hospital and asked them to be notified as soon as the victim was available for questioning. 4:42 a.m., Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crew from the crime lab began their investigation. Frank and I went back to the office. October 30th, 10:17 a.m., Georgia Street reported that Joplin had recovered consciousness. We drove down there and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He said that Joplin was suffering from shock and loss of blood. He also said that Joplin's right shoulder was severely lacerated and that there was a possibility the arm would have to be amputated. 10:46 a.m., we interviewed the victim.
Sat down on the stool and asked for a cup of coffee.
Yes, sir.
I turned around, picked up the Silex, started filling the cup. Time I was finished, he got his gun out. Guess he had it in that bag he's carrying.
Yes, sir.
Told me it was a stick-up. Said to give him the money from the register or he'd shoot me. I didn't say nothing, just stood there kind of staring at him.
Yeah.
He raised up his gun. Shotgun it was.
Yes, sir.
I mean business, mister. That's what he said next. I mean business.
I see.
I still didn't say nothing, just stood there with that cup of coffee in my hand. Start moving, he said. Voice sounded real low and mean. Didn't seem to match his face. Sort of a pleasant-looking fella. Voice was mean, though.
Yeah.
Started gesturing with that shotgun, pointing toward the register. That's when I let fly. With a cup of coffee. Smashed it right into his face.
I see.
Must have given him quite a jolt.
Yes, sir.
Didn't keep him from shooting me, but it sure wrecked his aim some. Leastways, I'm still here. Don't remember nothing after that.
I see.
Sure, hit him a good one, though. Them coffee cups ain't the lightest things in the world.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Not to mention the coffee itself. Scalding hot it was. Right here. That's where I belted him. Right in the jaw. Used to be a ball player, you know.
Is that right?
Wasn't a pro exactly, but I had a first-rate pitching arm. Lefty Joplin, that's what they used to call me. Back in Junction City, Kansas it was. Local merchant sponsored our team. Pitched 16 winners one season. Best record in the league.
Yes, that's very good.
Well, I ain't lost all my technique. Leastways, I sure whacked him with that cup.
Yes, sir.
Doc say anything to you fellas about how I'm doing?
Well, just that you're getting along.
He make up his mind about my right arm yet?
What?
Whether I'm going to lose it or not?
No, sir, he didn't tell us.
Guess in a way I'm kind of lucky.
What?
Being left-handed.
We asked the victim, Fred Joplin, to describe the suspect. The description he gave us tallied with what we already had. 11:17 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office.
I can't figure it out, Joe.
What?
Why he'd switch from hotels to a cafe.
Well, maybe he tumbled to our stakeouts.
Yeah, I thought sure he'd try the Argus, though. It's the right spot for him. I get it.
Robbery Friday. I see. Yeah. Anything else? Well, give us something to go on anyway. Thank you. Right. Lee Jones in the lab.
What's he got?
Well, Joplin was right. He sure didn't miss with that coffee cup.
They find the pieces?
More than that.
Huh?
Found a broken front tooth. Analysis of the broken tooth revealed that it was part of a lower incisor. From what we learned of the suspect, it seemed likely that he would make an immediate effort to have the tooth replaced. For the next 3 days, Frank and I interviewed dentists in the immediate vicinity of the robberies. Thursday, November 3rd, 3:17 p.m. We questioned Dr. Clinton Potterfield in his office on the second floor of the Marsh building.
Yes, I believe I had such a patient last Monday.
Broken incisor?
Yes, that's right.
Could you tell us what he looked like?
Oh, young man, about 30, nicely dressed, seemed very pleasant.
Did he say what had happened to his tooth?
Yes, he did. Automobile accident.
I see.
He knocked it against the steering wheel. He wanted a new fitting right away.
Yes, sir.
Agreed to make him a temporary as soon as I could. It should be finished tomorrow. He offered to pay me extra if I'd hurry it up. I told him you can't rush a new bridge, even a temporary.
Yes, sir. Did he give you his name and address?
Well, not me personally. My receptionist takes care of those details.
Yes, I understand. Would you mind checking with her?
No, not a bit. Excuse me.
It's about time we got a break.
Oh.
Hey, look out there. Starting to rain.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, just like the paper said. going to be a wet winter.
Here you are, gentlemen. I had a copy down for you.
Thank you. Philip Seaver.
Yes, that's correct. His address is right there, too.
Well, at least we know one thing now.
What's that?
Why he skipped over the Argus Hotel.
Yeah?
He lives there. "3:58 p.m. Frank and I drove over to the Argus Hotel, and we talked to the owner, George Argus. He told us that Philip Seaver lived on the second floor, room 23. He said that Seaver was a quiet young man who had been staying at the hotel for the past 6 weeks. He also told us that Seaver worked nights and was probably in his room now. We took the elevator up to the second floor.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
take off that
get
right
against
there.
the wall there.
What? Move. I sure don't know what this is all about.
Oh, he's clean, Joe.
All right, turn around.
Okay.
Where's the shotgun?
You guys must be off your rockers.
I'll see what I can turn up.
All right.
You got no right to come busting in here.
Yeah.
Now, what would I be doing with the shotgun?
Why don't you tell us?
I never had a gun in my life. Boy, you cops sure make the darndest mistakes. I bet you picked the wrong guy up half the time.
Yeah, sure.
Look, there's nothing in that bureau except my clothes there, fella.
Yeah, what about this?
Well, it's just a satchel, that's all.
It's locked.
Where's the key?
I don't know, I lost it.
Break it open.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good bag.
Not worth anything to you without a key, is it? All right, Seaver, let's go.
How the heck did that get in there?
You don't know.
I told you I didn't.
Yeah.
I never had a shotgun in my life.
Well, you got one now.
Oh, I must have picked up the wrong bag by mistake. Sure, that's what happened.
All right, come on, Seaver.
Okay, I'm coming.
Cut your hand?
Be all right.
Look at that.
Huh?
You must have bad ones.
What's that?
Another tooth missing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 12th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Philip Herbert Seaver was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state penitentiary. Because of the viciousness of the suspect, it was decided that the terms would run consecutively. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.